friends, breaks with friends, breaks with friends. It's never going to end. Breaks with friends, breaks with friends, breaks with friends. Let's do it again. Brett, he talks to people about stuff. He's a podcast man.
Everybody's in here at 7 o'clock, and you come walking in at 7:45. When is it going to stop? Come in at 7:45, then you leave here at 3:30 in the afternoon, and then you don't.
Well, hello. I'm going to try to Frankenstein a little last video of the year of Brits with Friends. And I was going to have Larry Bell on, but I haven't heard back from him. And I know he's not very computer savvy, but I'm hoping to still get him on. I haven't abandoned the show. It's Christmas, it's the holidays. I sold a painting and did the commission painting, which was awesome for Sarah. And I came out, banged it out. It just took I'll show you a picture right here of the photo and then the thing, the painting. Yeah, it was a challenge. I had to squeeze a lot of use a lot of years of knowledge to do, compact it, make it the layering and everything, just do everything I would normally take a year to do on a painting, on older paintings. I had to cram that into 2 weeks. So I think it came out pretty good. Sarah's very happy with it. So if anybody needs a painting, this is your guy. So Brits with Friends, I'm up to 88 episodes. I'm not going to count this as an episode because is it 88? Maybe this is 88. Maybe, I don't know. If it is, we'll put it on the graphic right here. So I wanted to do sort of a year-end wrap-up thing. So I've done 88 videos. This is 88, and I've had all these crazy experiences. I wish there was some. We'll go down a little list of sort of the top videos, and I don't know if I'm going to insert little clips individually or just put them all together. Because before this I was kind of pussyfooting trying to think about how this is actually going to work, how I want to do this. So I had kind of so this is just a little quick list of some of the top guests I've had on Brits with Friends. Carlos Ozaraki came in really early. I met that guy in San Jose at the last laugh. We talked about that. I really wish I was a better interviewer at that time. I think it was my 7th video or something like that. But he is really great to come on here. So, and he's gotten over 100 hits. This is, but these are time reels. These are timescapes. This is not like a Hollywood, obviously, a thing. But also Carlos is just really funny and great, and love to work with him someday.
But I love that voice acting, and I love making movies. I made a movie called Witness Infection. I think you maybe have seen the link.
I saw the link. I didn't get to the premiere though. I'm sorry about that. I didn't have the $20 on me at the time.
Yep, that's okay. We'll send you out a link. It's going to come out in April, I think. That's the unofficial date of a domestic premiere on some formats.
You produced that movie? You produced and
financed it. Yeah, wrote it with Joe Michel Melian, produced it, financed it, and we shot it in Lake Elsinore and Temecula and Murrieta, which is right near Temecula. So yeah, I enjoy that stuff and making low budget features, being on Reno. It's tough. There's so many good stand-ups now too that I just go, wow, those guys and gals know how to write. My neighbor 4 houses down, who I met in 1987 in Club Remy on Union Street in San Francisco when she wore her creme de la Catholic schoolgirl skirt, is Lori Kilmartin, and she writes for Conan, and she's my neighbor, and she has a pit bull named Charmy that's out of her mind.
I love Lori Kilmartin. She was at the last laugh.
Yeah, she's my neighbor right down the street.
Oh, tell her I say hi. She won't remember, man. But are you still jumping out of planes?
No, I stopped skydiving in 2010. I started in '95 because I had it on my resume. My friend Colin Reno was working at William Morris and says, saw skydiving on your resume. You want to go this weekend? And I'm like, okay. I had done 3 jumps and I was pretty much done. But he invited me out and I did another tandem and I got hooked. And then I went through the AFF Accelerated Free Fall program and spent all this money. I had Taco Bell money came in. I bought a new rig. I was skydiving every weekend. And I did it all the way from 95 to 2010.
And how many jumps you got in?
I got in 723.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. There's a guy, Garcia skydive on my website, carlosalazraki.com, pictures and photos and footage of me jumping as my Garcia character for fun. But jumped out of a hot air balloon, my second to last jump. That was bizarre and fun. But I had a good time. I jumped in Hawaii. I jumped in Houston. I jumped in Davis, California. I jumped, oh God, what other places? In Denver, Colorado in December in the snow.
Wow.
High up out of a Cessna, 10,000 feet with all this clothing on. It was so bizarre. Like jumping into a Christmas snow globe.
What's like, describe that, because what does that feel like? I mean, does that hang with you forever now? Is it just in you, that feeling, that adrenaline push, that you already have a lot of energy already? Did that just blow your mind? Is that the kick?
Yeah, it's surreal. It's not real. You jumping. The door opens on the plane. It's immediate. It's loud. It's fast, and your mind can't comprehend that you're jumping into this painting. There's no ground rush, so your stomach's not sinking because you're floating into 13,000 feet of nothing. So you can't see the ground coming up. So there's no stomach feeling. You're just jumping into a painting, and it's surreal, and you're trying to process it. But when you're jumping with somebody else and you're doing all these tricks, and it's just wonderful. It's just playing. You're just playing.
So do you not feel like your life is in danger? Or is that part of it? Or is that just a fight or flight? So like, I would shit my pants if I did that.
You just have to make the adjustment. When I jumped out of the hot air balloon, it was not disguised by all the speed and the noise and the pace of the plane and what I had done hundreds of times before. It was very quiet. We were at 5,000 feet. The guy stopped the flames on the balloon and he goes, "Yeah, get out of my balloon." Step out on this plank. It's totally quiet. And you're like, this is bizarre. I'm jumping off this basket right now. And so that was a little bit more frightening, at least. But once you leave the platform or once you exit the plane, your heart rate literally comes down and it's just all about breathing and just falling. And you trust the equipment. And you trust if you do things safely and track away from another skydiver, when you open, you're going to be fine. You might have an off-heading opening. I had one reserve ride where my main canopy came out in a twist. And sometimes you can bicycle kick the other way out of a twist. But the more I tried to bicycle kick, I had a full canopy. So it's what's called a slow speed malfunction. I'm not dropping at 120 miles an hour, but I'm dropping in a canopy that's spinning me around fast.
Shit.
I had to make a decision, so I chopped it, I pulled it, released the main one, and it had what's called a reserve static line. It was hooked to my reserve, so as I went to pull my reserve handle, my reserve was already coming out. And that scared me. That was jump 336. And, that was pretty eye-opening, pretty jarring.
Wow.
And if you took 5 weeks off and you did a solo, because I was used to jumping with other people, I could climb out of the plane, hang on the camera step, and wait for another buddy to jump out and just drop off with that person. But when I went by myself, it was so weird. It's like, I'm falling fast. This is weird. I'm only at 4,000 feet. I really want to pull now, but I'm gonna go all the way to 4,000 feet till my altimeter goes off in my helmet, track away, and then pull.
God.
Yeah.
I can't. That's mind blowing to me to be able to do stuff like that.
It was fun. And you miss it. You have dreams about it. You can go in the skydiving tunnel without all the gear, obviously, and do the tunnel when COVID's over. I'd like to return to that, but it's not the same as jumping out of a plane. It just isn't.
What do you think about those guys in those squirrel suits?
Amazing. I wanted to try. That was one of the things I wanted to try before I stopped, and I never did. But our friend Eli Thompson was a 30,000 jumps expert skydiver, and he perished in Switzerland on a Red Bull shoot. They were trying to fly relative Canada, or it's called proximity flying with suits through like a canyon, and they did it higher, they tried it lower, little pilot error, And that was it. And this was a guy that had over, like I say, 30,000 jumps. He had sponsors. Those guys jumped all the time. And so when you're doing wingsuits and you're not doing proximity flying or base jumping and you're just jumping out of a plane and you just track, it's safe because it's all air. There's no objects around you. So the idea is that with skydiving, you jump with a partner, or you jump in a group, you plan it on the ground. When you see those big waves of like 100 skydivers clustered, okay, you're on the ground at the DZ looking up, and they break away, and it's like fireworks. They all go, phew. They all track away from each other so that they're not going to open into each other. Mm-hmm. And everybody does like a 90-degree, like a 180-degree turn. So if everybody's doing a 180-degree turn, you're gonna spray out in the right path. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be right on top of somebody or below somebody when you open. You don't want to open up into them. And so the cameraman is in the center. When everybody tracks away, the cameraman just opens. He opens higher because the filming is over. Yeah. So you plan out dives like that. And so if you open high and you plan your landing, sometimes you're going to have a crosswind or a dust devil will grab your canopy. You got to watch out for dust devils because you can't see them over grass. I had that happen a couple of times where my canopy would buckle, and I'm like, "Oh, dust devil, crap!" Don't buckle the entire canopy, but you're going to be okay if you don't push the envelope. But obviously, proximity flying with a wingsuit off a structure, you're increasing the odds that something could go wrong. It's like race car driving. I'm driving a Mustang around the race car track at 80 miles an hour. All right, let's get in a Formula One car and go 190. That's okay. You got to be more careful.
So are you ready for a jetpack now?
I'm ready. That guy passed away in Dubai. The jetpack guy. It was a French skydiver that had the jetpack wingsuit. Yeah, he passed away. There was, an error. And again, he knew that it was playing with fire,
He was dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight.
Yeah, there was the one skydiver. I'm sure there's Baumgartner that jumped out of the hot air weather balloon, which was a record from the 40s. A soldier did it in the 40s. And then there was a guy who skydived without a parachute, did a high exit at 30,000 feet with oxygen.
Is that the Red Bull thing where he jumped from space?
No, that's Baumgartner. This is a guy that jumped from 30,000 feet with no parachute, with other people around him, and he has to land on like a huge 400. I don't know how far it was, a huge net. But the reason you jump so high is that you're with other skydivers who are around you at all times, right? For all altitudes. You got to make sure that the uppers aren't blowing you off course. But once it's determined that he was over the target area where he needed to be, probably around 10,000 feet, 7,000 feet, everybody else just took off. He's on his own now. He's flying belly to earth, flat. He's planned it out. And he's got to hit this net, and it's pretty tense. You can look it up, like land.
I remember I saw that video.
Yeah, and, it's pretty tense.
That is some nutty shit right there.
That is. That's major planning, and that's hours and hours and hours and hours of really planning this out.
The physics.
Yeah.
The day, the wind, the temperature.
Yep. Wow. Clouds, visibility, knowing this drop zone area, knowing what the winds do. And knowing how to fly correctly. You have to fly in a neutral position, right? Mm-hmm. Your hands can't be forward. If they're forward and your legs are back, the relative wind will catch your arms and push you backwards. If your legs are straight out and your arms are like this, it'll push you forward. So you got to be nice and neutral. Once you get over that target, everything's going to be nice and neutral. So you're falling straight down.
that is how that goes against everything it is to be a human.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the other one is Rip Kronk, who's based in Oregon now, but he was in Venice Beach for like a long time. That episode got a lot of views as well, which I kind of Frankenstein that together because they're kind of like I was making when I originally did this podcast, I was doing it so that I tried to keep it within an hour or two so I could post it on Instagram, but then as well as YouTube. But I found that was making it more complicated than it needed to be. Plus, I use video sometimes of other people's projects and stuff like that. But so, anyways, I digress. Rip Kronk is a really fun episode. There's a lot more I have of him that I never used for the shows. but I'm gonna put some a little bit of his stuff in there too.
Industry was out here, I would have come out here really early on and gone and started painting screen sets and become an art director and gone up in the movie business where you can make a lot of money with a lot of fun because everybody in the business is really good at what they do. That's why they're there. So, and you work on a project, you didn't get to take off until the next project. No, man, I'd have been doing that. So I didn't know about that, or I'd have kind of moved in on that one right away just to become, financially okay. In terms of what I tell people is, don't do it. Oh my fucking God. If you're going to go out there and try to make money in life, you're making a mistake. I am a poor and starving artist. I might be famous in some ways, but I'm still a poor and starving artist. You don't make money if you're really trying to make art. I wouldn't trade what I do for anyone because there's a kind of if you get it right, art has a kind of power. It's a sort of force. It's a force in culture. It's sitting there like radiating. It's beaming what it says as a factor of culture out to everyone who looks at it. So it has a kind of power in society that sort of bypasses everything else, right? You look at an advertisement, it can be done incredibly well, but if it's an advertisement, you just blur, you just go by, you don't even see it. But if you go by a school mural and it's sort of mediumly well done, you stop and admire it. You're looking for what it says to you as a factor of culture, completely independent of the commercial and all the other imagery that's in the world. So that's still there. That's still part of our sort of life and culture that predates who we are now, right? And will still be there, having that same effect, part of our actualization process long after we're all gone. That's not going anywhere. So I deal in a whole different set of circumstances and ideas and reasons than most people think about. I'm not going to make money doing what I do, but I have the effect on society that I'm hoping to have, that I'm happy.
Yeah, I just saw recently. I saw that they unearthed this. If you want to get more drink, we can take a pause, but we'll leave because I got plenty. But I could talk to you for hours. But that Pompeii thing. Did you see that Pompeii that they unearthed? It looked like it was a food market display.
No.
Oh, and they unearthed this where they might have been selling food, and it's like it's all it's this it looks like yellows and it's got like a chicken on it and stuff like that. But they unearthed it, but it's still the colors are vibrant, and it kind of gives you a little lens or a little eye into the documented art that was made years ago, but they actually were creating art a long time ago. From Neanderthals to present day. It's changed fashion. It's changed. It's like almost like an alchemy for reality, because the way we see things and the way people respond to things. But this little area has these really great colors that are still vibrant. Like they're finding those things a lot on I guess what's standing the test of time when they unearth it is not pottery, but those things like it's bricks, like tiles. That's what.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah. So let me say to what you're saying, and you're absolutely right, and I'm completely agreement with that. And it's it's the role of the mural now is kind of the same role of the mural as it was then. Every civilization, the Egyptian civilization, the Cretes, all of them had wall painting. And while it just footnoted in history, the wall painting was everywhere. Even in the Renaissance period, when you go down into the city streets, it was like graffiti was written there about public issues and stuff. So the same sort of dynamic we have today was actually going on in the Renaissance, and it was going on in previous civilizations all the way back to the Egyptians. So just to kind of reiterate what you were saying, yeah, and the way the art functions is it functions at the site that it's made for, so that you go into a house, here's what's important to the people in that house, and they have it painted on the walls, right? So that's the role that art started out, and it's been that way in every civilization, and they've all had a stucco, not stucco, lime plaster, fresco. It's lime plaster, right? That went through every civilization except for the Egyptians, and they had a different technique that wasn't lime plaster, but they also had the colored painted walls that they find in all the different, discoveries of.
Yeah, they're even thinking about like the Sphinx has been predated like before the Egyptians got there because of water markings, and they've traveled like beyond the Sphinx, Easter Island, and particularly the Sphinx. The degradation of water, the timeline between the water line of the Sphinx predates the actual Egyptian reality, and so that Sphinx might have been there before the Egyptians came there.
Right. We can only go back as far as the Ice Age. Before the Ice Age, we don't even know what was there.
Yeah, I mean, what was before that? I mean, as the glaciers melt and we see like more like woolly mammoths and woolly rhinos start appearing because the ice age is defrosting. They're finding all these different artifacts. Like this guy had tattoos all over him, and he had a thing of weed, or do you think mushrooms had a part to do with any of the creativity and existence of evolution of man from like shrew or small monkey to where we are now? I mean, can we look down that path and see where we're going to go in a weird way, like creatively? Like, I guess the point is we've always been creating, but everybody's been able to express themselves. Like, you're finding old ass tattoos on bodies that are being unfrozen, and so people have always wanted to express themselves or draw on themselves or draw on things that might last. Or so basically, is that our DNA? Is it in our DNA to create always and do this thing?
I think it's part of the actualization process, part of growing up. I think it's ingrained in 5-year-olds when they're drawing their first picture of a tree. I mean, it's at that level that this is working. So it might be called something different, but it's still part of that process. So it's I think it's part of who we are.
Yeah, like art becomes language, in a weird way. I'm getting a little psychedelic now, but I'm on my third beer, and this is a double podcast, so we can get a little abstract. But like maybe before there was language, there was art.
I think would like to say it's the other way, but it does seem like as an artist, that's how it is.
Rachel Hardesty, actor in LA, got a lot of views, and she is really great, fun, great. Rachel Hardesty, welcome to Breasts with Friends. This is my little podcast thing. This is my 35th episode, so it's special. Every episode's special. But welcome to the show, Rachel Hardesty, actor or actress. What is the best way to say that now?
Whatever. I don't care.
This is like waitress and waiter, or pianist or piano. It's not on.
I'm not one of those people that worries about gendering, jobs or anything. All those labels seem quite a bit silly to me. But
yeah, it goes. There's a point where it kind of goes off the rails a little bit. So for the people out there, we met each other like 20 years ago? Has it been 20 years? 18, 15, 14? 12?
15, 18 maybe. Yeah, I'll have been in LA for 20 years this October. So somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think I knew you before because we were at that restaurant on Epic Kenny and we were doing those mimosa shots, and it turned into a party with your buddy who bought that painting.
Yeah, Adam. Adam directed the movie that I wrote too.
Nice. Well, shout out to Adam. What's the movie that I wrote? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, the movie that I wrote was called Crazy Eyes. It came out in like 2012. It stars Malin Zima, Lucas Haas, Jake Busey's in it. Ray Wise is in it.
What was your experience of that? Like, what was the? Can you give us it's a great place to start. Like, can you give us the making of, like the inception of it, and then to the finalization, realization of it till the.
Yeah, actually, so Adam and I wrote it kind of about our relationship. Adam and I were both in relationships with other people, but spending a lot of time together and drinking a lot. Basically, I was going through a bunch of stuff. My roommate had been committed to a mental institution. I was very unhappy in a relationship, and Adam was also like in several relationships. He had a very tumultuous relationship with his child's mother, and he was attached with a woman who was mentally ill, I guess. So we both were just kind of hanging out and drinking away our pain. And then a bunch of things kept happening where we just thought they were so funny, and we're like, that would be a great scene in a movie. So we just started collecting these little scenes about stuff that had actually happened to us. And then we just started piecing stuff together. We'd hear stories about something that happened to our friends, or, and then we just kind of, grabbed all these little stories and started creating characters that were amalgams of ourselves and our friends. And then we made it into a movie. He kind of bought me out of it and rewrote it with another guy that was in the Writers Guild. And then they ended up shooting the script that he rewrote. But I went to the premiere and I liked the movie. Like when I first saw that they had rewritten it, I was kind of upset. I cried, in fact, because I thought they took my work and, did something crazy different with it. But then when I saw the movie, I actually really liked it. And I thought they did a great job. So yeah, it was. Did
all the marks that you had originally, sort of the beats and stuff like that, did the other writer, or the difference between the director and the writer and you, did those marks hit? Did you get the punches that you wanted at the points that you? Yeah,
I mean, the comedy stayed there, and the darkness all stayed there. What I disliked the most was that they took my strong female character and they made her younger and stupider than she was. But they focused the movie on the man's perspective instead of, it kind of was equal when we were writing it together. It was from both of our perspectives, but they made it about the man to kind of create a stronger protagonist. It's a more traditional way of doing a movie. So I didn't like what they did to my girl, but at the same time, that kind of made her more likable. Her being more naive made her less manipulative, for instance, and her being kind of younger and just like the object of the guy's affections. It took away a lot of her I don't know, manipulation and I don't know, like I don't know, a lot of her dirtiness, I guess. So, you know, I could, and I now I see both sides. When I was younger, I hated it, but now, I mean, now I just kind of see both sides.
And when was the time that you guys had the first ideas or the twinklings and the stars of it, and then to the finalization of it? How long was that process?
God, like maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah, movies take a long time. Movies
Yeah,
take.
I've got one feature that I want to do. It's taken me 20 years. I wrote
Yeah.
it a lot. You know, I'm still pitching it. It's still fucking funny. Return
Yeah.
to Sender. That's the whole reason why I have this podcast, is to make this movie.
Oh,
So,
right on.
and we'll see if it goes beyond. But and also it's my COVID sort of way of being social as well.
Yeah, right on.
But so when you move to, so let's digress, shall we?
Sure.
Let's because you know what? Okay, real quick, we're gonna try to insert the trailer right now for that trailer for your movie. I'll have Michael Webb, my editor, who does more complex things than I do, grab it from the internet because we can't seem to be able to download it from YouTube. I think you have to pay extra for that.
Los Angeles, if you're a 1 in a million in this city, there are still 7 more just like you. That bar was like a little bubble, my own private world.
Crazy Eyes is this girl I took home the other night. I will die without Crazy Eyes.
I can't remember how many girls I'm messing with right now.
I said I love you. I need a little bit more money.
I have a boyfriend. No!
I'd never been smart when it came to women.
You have a kid.
5-year-old son.
But I knew enough to say that hooking up with this girl would be darker than getting trapped in a coal mine.
That's my bird feeder, man. Come on, it's not the worst thing I've ever done.
I need Crazy Eyes. Oh, man, shut up. Stop complaining about her.
If I can get her to share more than 2 bottles of wine with me, she's gonna want more, so we'll get a 3rd bottle.
Hey, Zach.
Guess who I brought?
These are my parents.
We were just leaving.
You take care, son.
Maybe I'm confused because you come here and you sleep every night naked in my bed.
You are such an alcoholic. I think you should stop trying to have sex with me. We're just friends.
Don't you sometimes want to just move inside of one of those things?
Maybe you have time and money to sit around wishing you could move inside a snow globe, but I have real problems.
I thought she's a lingerie designer.
No such thing as a lingerie designer, man. It's just a string that's either black or pink.
Jesus on the main line. Jesus on the main line. You can call him up and tell him what you want.
Just FYI, this is also an info. If we can learn about what we're doing with this stuff, this media at the same time, I like to say that too, because I'm having difficulty grabbing videos that people send me, so sometimes they don't make the cut.
Yeah.
You have to download them. Vimeo is better for that. Vimeo is where that's better.
Okay.
But so we'll grab it and insert it, and then we'll come back, and it's like we just played it. So suspend disbelief and realize and feel like we just played it. So we did. Awesome. I saw it earlier, and I saw it just now. It's awesome. It looks great. So let's digress back to when you first moved to LA. How about before you moved to LA? Where were you then? How old were you? What triggered you to move to LA?
Oh, I was raised in Connecticut. And I grew up doing theater, and I grew up loving movies, quoting movies constantly with my sister. So moving to LA and making movies was always the plan. So I graduated high school when I was 17. I waited a month or 2 until my 18th birthday, and then I got in my car and drove to LA, and I've been here ever since.
There was no plan B.
No plan B.
That's the secret right there.
Yeah, plan B for pussies.
And so did you arrive in Venice proper immediately, or did you take a while to get to that point?
No, I have an aunt and uncle that lived in Manhattan Beach. So I lived with them for the first almost year, maybe like 8 months. I lived with them, which was very nice. They have a very nice house in Manhattan Beach. I was very lucky. But that was kind of felt like a different, like being with my parents, all over again. That was like, I didn't have the freedom that I wanted. So I moved out like, yeah, I think I was still 18. I moved to the Valley first, and then I quickly realized that sucked, and then I moved back to the West Side.
How long did it take you to realize it sucked?
Oh God, dude, it's so hot. I'm like,
Was it a week? Was it a month?
I would go to auditions, my makeup would be like melting off my faces. Like you're just sweaty all the time. You're like angry all the time because you're sweaty. It's fuck the Valley. Like it's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a little stint in Silver Lake too, which is actually where I met Adam. And like Crazy Eyes is written about my time in Silver Lake, and the bars are like based on some Silver Lake bars, that sort of thing. But same thing, Silver Lake, kind of everyone felt like they were trying to out hipster each other, and it was just too fucking hot. So
what year was this?
That was, oh man, 2009, 2008, 2009. Yikes, I don't know.
It gives you a timeline because where I was at during that time and what was happening. But so what was it? Okay, so how long did you stay in North Hollywood before you fled?
Oh,
Was it a month, 2 months?
no, it was like a year.
Oh
shit!
Like
police, yeah. So, but yeah, and then we came back. I think I did a little stint in Marina del Rey, but then I've been in Venice for the majority of the time that I've been in LA. But
yeah, how is Venice these days?
it's weird.
Tell me about it.
It's I've always loved that Venice was like where art meets crime, and like it's you get all types, you get all characters, like you get the junkies and the billionaires and the actors and the artists and the regular people and just everybody. But I don't know. It's like the boardwalk is now just covered in tents. I just feel like I've never felt unsafe walking around my neighborhood, and lately it's just been yucky. It's just been the worst it's been than that in the 20 years that I've been here.
Yeah, it seems to be a big. Yeah, I was there probably like 3 weeks ago that I walked around there. I was trying to hit a bar over there, but the ale house is closed. The only two places I found that were open were Fig Tree and the waterfront's a shit show.
That's why I work there.
Ooh, give us a dirt.
Okay, you can call it a shit show.
Now we're cooking. What's the dirt on the waterfront? What the hell is going on there?
Oh God. Well, honestly, I like it in this post-COVID-ness because before it was like a nightclub or day club. It was wall-to-wall people, and I just had to babysit people. Like, get down from there, put your shoes on. Like, people would sneak in, and I'd be like kicking people out. Yeah, I was like a security guard basically. So now everyone has to have a reservation. Everyone has to sit in their seat, and it's still a lot of babysitting people, but at least it's like a real restaurant now, as opposed to just it's way less of a shit show than it used to be. But
you have to have a reservation to be in there.
Yep, that's a COVID thing. So yeah.
And okay, John Riggs, shout out to John Riggs. When this place still just opened, he put his hand next to. I'll try to grab that picture so we see it. I'm not trying to bag on it, but it's just an observation. But he put his hand next to the burger that they had. That was a $15 hamburger, and the thing looked like a cupcake, and no fries with it.
Yep.
And this is waterfront talk now. Very new episode on the show.
We're shooting on my day job, people.
No, what's the deal? Is the burger made from the best Angus beef, or is it like it worth the price? That's all I'm saying.
No, well, that's the thing. Waterfront has, in the 2 years that I've been there, it's gone through a couple chefs. It's really trying to find itself in the neighborhood. Like Venice can charge outrageous prices for anything. Venice and Santa Monica are expensive because they're Venice and Santa Monica. The boardwalk is going to be expensive because you're on the boardwalk. You're paying for the view. You're paying for the area, not just the food. That being said, yeah, I remember that tiny burger. That burger is not as small anymore. I think the food is good. We have I like our chef now. His name is Jared Dowling. He's awesome. He's a love, and like, yeah, the food has gotten a lot better, and I think it's worth the price. Like, we have a chicken sandwich that I think is like $16 that I get all the time. It's so good. So it's
Did they give you a discount there?
Huh?
Did they give you a discount?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But like, I feel like it was just taking a long time to find its voice.
Well, it's American Bistro, really, isn't that what the?
Yeah, exactly. It's tacos. It's a burger. It's sandwiches. It's very simple fare, but like, they still want to keep out too much of the riffraff, and still make it like as nice of a dining experience as possible. But like it went from being like, you remember the old waterfront that was like the
fun
beer
part.
apartment.
Yeah, that was fun.
Food was fucking gross and like it smelled like
but we
vomit.
loved it. But we loved it. They had the curry thing that they had on there, the curry bowl thing that they the name of it. That was the best thing on the menu. That was like $16.
Well, the pretzel.
The pretzel was like
soak up their beer.
The pretzels were a little too doughy for me, to be honest. They turned a little. They weren't cooked. They needed another like 30 seconds in there.
Yeah.
But those are the old times. Oh my gosh. It's like I remember getting the best table there, and we'd sit there for sunset, and it was good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. Well, are there we'll get off the waterfront thing here for a second, but what's the craziest thing that you've seen there while you've been there, and the most coolest thing you've ever seen, like experience, just little clips of the highs and lows.
I mean, the crazy thing, there was a naked Russian guy that they needed like a SWAT team and like a helicopter and all this stuff to subdue. In fact, they got everyone off the boardwalk and locked us in the waterfront while there was like 18 cop cars and this crazy naked screaming guy. And he kept going, whatever drugs he was on or whatever mental breakdown he was having, he would go from like screaming rage to like crying. So he was clearly just going through something. I don't think he wanted to hurt anybody, that kind of thing. But there was a helicopter, like all the cop cars, and we were all just locked in the waterfront watching it through the windows. And I don't know if you know about the Citizen app, but like Citizen app is going crazy, and then all my friends are texting me like, what's going on? Like we can see it happening on Citizen app, but like, and I'm filming through the window, and it was crazy. So that was probably the craziest one. I don't know what's the coolest one. Like I don't know.
I mean, be like $1,000 tip or something,
Yeah, right. That hasn't happened. I don't know. I guess like cool celebrities. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got my puppy there. I don't know.
You got your puppy there.
Well, I'd met my puppy, but like I actually got her to bring her home for the first time at the waterfront.
Oh, so you met up there to get your puppy. And what's your puppy's name?
My puppy's name is Esperanza, but we call her Rafa. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. What kind of doggy is it?
She's a rescue. She's a mutt. She's rescued from the streets of Mexico, which is why her name's Esperanza. It means hope.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm a big doggy enthusiast.
Me too.
Oh, and how old is she now?
8 months.
Oh God, you just got her.
Yeah, she's a COVID baby.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's the best thing about the waterfront. We love dogs. All dogs are allowed. That's the best thing about the waterfront.
Yeah, I'll show a clip of that too, hopefully. I just don't want to bog myself with editing so much, but I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm in Oregon. It's cold. Okay, and also Hannah Sloan is somebody I knew way back in the day, and that was nice for her to come back, and we had a great time, and she's very funny. I always love her, but I hadn't talked to her in like 10 years when we did that Brett's with Friends with her, maybe longer. I don't know.
Yes. Composition is everything.
I know. It's important to me. No, I'll get it. Don't you worry.
I'm sweating through with anticipation.
Is that better or more?
Yeah, can you come closer to the screen a little bit?
Oh, shit.
I know, these are I'm giving you direction. We're gonna keep all this for the video too, so this is perfect.
Oh no, you can't do that.
It's a good thing I edit. That's everyone's first question. Do you do this live?
I was hoping you would do this at night because the lighting's much better on my face, but we'll just roll with it.
You don't age? I haven't seen you in 20 years. What pills are you taking? Because you look the same.
Lemonade.
Oh, lemonade. That's a secret.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it's great to see you. Great to hear your voice.
It's nice to see you too. This is very surreal.
Is it surreal or what? Yeah, this is a trip, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way. So, and you know what's funny is that, okay, we'll just start the show. This is Brett's with Friends, my silly, stupid little podcast where I don't know what I'm going to ask. We're just going to have a conversation. I want to know about the things that you're passionate about.
Okay.
And we got quite a wormhole to go down. But
yes.
Also, this is my episode 56.
Oh no, that's my as you know, that's my number.
I know.
Thank you.
It's I don't know what, it just happened that way.
Synchronicity. And I can't believe you remembered that was my number.
Well, I lived at 56A Dudley.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God.
See how it all, we're coming full circle.
Wow, and that's my number. Okay, so here we are in the wormhole of number 56, and let's see what happens.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it.
Okay.
So
Where
I'm
do we
excited that
start?
I was tripping out because I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be perfect.
It is.
So you're Hannah Sloan,
I think so.
and I met you about 20 years ago or so. Who's
True.
counting?
This is true. I wandered into your house randomly on Dudley. Didn't remember it was 56. So there we go.
I'm here to trigger you. And Antoine was having an art show next door across the way.
That's who it was. I was at a party at someone's house at Dudley. I got bored. I wandered across the street, wandered into your house, and started looking at your paintings. That's all I remember.
Well, I unfortunately or fortunately have an elephant memory bank, so I remember everything.
Oh, good.
So I had my big piece Circadian Rhythms, that 5 foot by 6 foot painting. That was sort of my opus in this 1999, 2000. Woo woo. And you said, and you looked very mysterious because you're always mysterious to me. You're like, never set your paintings on the ground. And I was like, and then we had a friendship, and
I love myself.
yeah, you're all, don't ever, which was the first time anybody's ever told me that, and that was a sign of respect for art, and that was a very big thing for me. So
And have you taken that to heart?
absolutely.
Good.
I remember.
I'm so glad I had an influence on you, and I'm glad that you remember these details.
I do remember the details.
Whatever happened to that opus?
It was Circadian Rhythms. It was, I had it in a pot shop off of Washington next to the 72 Market Street, and there's an Asian gang running the pot shop, and they moved out, and I was trying to figure out when they're moving out, and they took it, and it was too big for me to move. In hindsight, I should have unraveled it when I had the chance and taken it, because it was too big. I didn't have a car at the time, and they took it to Apple Valley, and the guy went to jail for a thing called Hotel California, where he busted. There's a sting operation for a cop. They were selling copious amounts of herb and double bagging it, and
As we do.
and the cops found it. They resealed it, and then they made a bust at the TGI Fridays in when they tried selling it to a cop at TGI Fridays in Austin, Texas, or something like that. So to make a long story short, the girl, oh gosh, I probably should, Jocelyn, who's his wife, I tried getting it back from him several times, but they had it in storage. He was a, basically Asian drug dealer, not very reputable, and it got thrown out into a bin outside of Apple Valley, which I didn't know. I was investigating this whole time, trying to find it. And some homeless guy who was homeless at the time named Travis Shrink tried to extort it for $20,000 because he had it, and he climbed over the fence and grabbed it out of the trash can, which is no small feat because it's a very large painting.
And this is the art world in a nutshell, just so you know.
Well, that's going to cover basically the rest of our interview because I was going to ask you what the state of the art world was. So he tried getting me to pay him $20,000. He had it at somebody's house, but they were drug people, and he went sober, got a home, and he can't get it back, or wouldn't get it back. Last time I heard, it was in San Jose, California, but it's got my name right there height wise on the painting. So I wish someday somebody would really give that back to me.
It sounds like a road trip documentation opportunity. So if you need someone to go with you.
Are you going to come with me?
Got a deal.
Oh, okay, good. That'd be awesome.
I'll ride shotgun.
All right, perfect. Let's do it. I don't know where it's at. I know it still exists. So it's weird. Like that painting in particular, like I always had visions of burning that painting for some reason in 1999. I don't know, the 2000 was coming up. but I had visions of that painting burning on Venice Beach.
Maybe it will.
Well, someday, hopefully. No, I don't want to get the painting back and burn it. But I don't know. There's a bit of a kind of a weird. It was a great piece. I haven't painted like that. That was more of my Asian line work on top of the abstract stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I need to get back to that a lot. But I spent about a year on that painting.
Wow. Is that the longest time you've ever spent on a painting, or have you gone longer? Do you go back to paintings again and again, or what are they done when they're done?
Oh no, they're never done. Really, it's just people they sell at the time that you want to sell them and how badly you need the money.
They're done when they're sold.
Yeah,
when someone wants to hang it on the wall.
Basically, that's when they're done. And yeah, I mean that was the most for that size. That was the longest time I've ever spent on a painting that size.
Wow. Well, I hope you get it. I hope it finds its way back to you and it doesn't get burned on the beach as kindling for a homeless bonfire, and that we hang it somewhere that it's not sitting on the floor.
That would be quite amazing, actually.
Yeah.
That stranger things have happened. It's got my name on it.
Yeah, it does. You know, someone might find it in a flea market someday, you know, and look and be researching the name, hoping that it's worth $20 million.
Basically.
Yeah, and try to sell it back or try to sell it to a dealer, and it'll end up back in your hands.
And they'll see this podcast and they'll be tripping out. I had somebody try to sell me back a painting recently from like 20 years ago. They're all and there's a guy named Solomon, and it was sort of a bad deal. He got a really good deal on some paintings, and he kind of chipped me on some money. But anyways, I got a phone call out of the blue from him, and he's all, you know, and I asked him, because I did like an 8-foot peacock in oil. Okay. And I asked him, what happened to the peacock? You know, and he's all, I don't know what happened to the peacock. I said, you don't know what happened to a 10-foot peacock in oil? And I think he's a drug dealer. And so he might have probably sold it off. And he asked me, you know, how is your artwork appreciating in value? When he called me, and I said, well, I appreciate it. And he was looking to sell the painting back to me because he's trying to sell money. This is at the beginning of COVID.
For more than he bought it for.
Oh, dude. Anyways, I've given the deals I've given in hindsight. My price for paintings have just went up.
I mean, just, you know, unsolicited advice. Can you sell to people who aren't drug dealers?
That's what I've been pretty good about that lately. I'm trying, but you know, cash is green. And yeah, that was in a well, around those times I was in a really big survival mode, you know. Around that time, I'm slowly, my relationship with money, I've been getting better at it. I've never been good with money.
Okay.
But like I'm getting better. But enough about me and the painting. Let's get to you. What's been happening since I last talked to you? You have been in the art industry for quite some time. In fact, if you still have that video of me and the Hildebrands dancing in your bookshop, I'd love to see that sometime. The Hildebrand brothers.
I barely remember that too. So
I remember it like it was yesterday. I tell you, my memory is like a steel trap. I remember everything.
Yes, there were a couple of twins named the Hildebrandt brothers who became famous for large-scale paintings of scenes from the Tolkien books, I believe. Is that right?
Correct.
And they also did cheesecake paintings of like vaudeville women, and they always wanted to paint me, which I refused to do, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
No.
Oh, Hannah. That would have been amazing. Come on,
I don't really count that as being in the art world per se, but thank you for reminding me of that memory as well.
Well, they were lovely gentlemen, and we were dancing in your bookshop, which was a children's bookshop in Brentwood.
That's true.
And you shot some video or something. I remember, or maybe I was just you were watching or something. Maybe I just saw it as a video in my brain.
Maybe you did, but you know, it's interesting going through old hard drives and finding things that you forgot, you know, that I've forgotten, which I've started to do recently, you know, and it just you recall all of these old incredible things that have just been in the dustbin for a while. You know, I'm not going to mention what those are right now.
That'll be another episode. We'll see what's in Hannah's dustbin.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So what's the question? How did I get into the art world, or how far do you want to go back? To the womb, to the 4th grade, to college, to my first real job? Where should we go with this?
I think we'll skip past the womb because unless you remember that, because if you remember that, then we could start there. But let's get into basically, I guess, where were you born, where you're raised, and then how did you find yourself in the art world? I guess let's go from there.
All right. So I was born and raised in San Diego, and I was born into a family with 5 older sisters. And my family wasn't really that into the arts, and I consider San Diego sort of a cultural wasteland. I grew up in the 80s, so there wasn't much there except, fortunately, we had the La Jolla Museum of Contemporary Art, which saved my life. Few okay museums in Balboa Park. And I would say my first experiences with art were with my grandmother at the La Jolla Museum of Contemporary Art, seeing exhibitions there. My family wasn't particularly artistic, but when you grow up with 5 older sisters and 2 eccentric parents, there's something artistic always happening around you. You just can't avoid it.
Nice.
So that's kind of how I grew up. But when I was a teenager, I just wanted to get the hell out of there. San Diego is a great place for kids and people who are retired, but when you are craving culture and something interesting to do, San Diego's not the place. La Jolla is not the place. It's just a place to walk on the beach and enjoy the coastline. So I went to college in New York City because I wanted to have a different experience, something exciting and something different. So that's where I went, and that's where I really discovered the arts. That's where it happened for me.
Was there an artist or an environment that what strikes you what's like that? I guess what strikes or what strikes you the most of what clicked in your head? You're like, oh shit, this is something special.
There were 2 watershed moments when I was in New York. I was clubbing a lot, so I was hanging out a lot in the tunnel in the Kenny Scharf room, which was artistic in a way. But I was enrolled in Tisch School of the Arts originally for screenwriting and dramatic writing. And as part of my humanities requirement, I took an art history class. It was probably general art history, basic covering the bases. And as soon as the lights went down and the slides came on and the professor started talking about what was on the slides, everything shifted. I was like, this is what I want to do. It just really hit me. I was like, I understand now storytelling through still imagery and how much you can convey in a still image. So everything shifted then. And then I had an epiphany one day while walking to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I was walking on one side of the street, and on the opposite side of the street, I saw a woman who looked exactly like me. We had the same hair, we were wearing the same outfit, and we were both carrying a maroon JanSport backpack. So we're walking parallel toward the Metropolitan. I think I was supposed to be writing about, are you smoking pot or a cigarette? Just curious.
This is a spliff.
Whatever. Okay, good.
It's like 90% weed, a little bit of tobacco.
Just making sure. Okay, so we're walking parallel toward the Met. I'm going to the Egyptology department. I don't know where she's going. And I'm watching her and I'm going, this is trippy, right? I'm watching myself, but I'm on this side of the street. And suddenly she crosses the corner and a truck hits her. And she hits the ground and doesn't move. And a crowd surrounds her, and it just did something to my head. I just couldn't deal with it. I got really depressed, and I went to, instead of going to the Met, I went the other way. I went to MoMA, and I was really depressed and distraught and confused, and it was just a very surreal, intense experience. And I remember very clearly that day walking into MoMA and sitting in front of a Mark Rothko painting. And I just sat there, and I sat there, and I sat there, and I sat there by myself. And a lot of people think his work is depressing and conveys depressing feelings because he committed suicide and all that. But something else happened to me that day where I realized I had like a spiritual experience in front of that painting. It shifted everything, where I realized someone from a different time and a different place could communicate to me through an image in a way that could change my entire life in a moment. And so those two experiences, the art history class and that very surreal moment of surviving and watching my doppelganger hit the pavement and maybe not survive, turned me into someone who wanted to study art and become an advocate for the arts for the rest of my life. You know,
Wow.
simple stuff. Simple stuff.
That was like, it's like a mirroring of reality.
Yeah, I'll never forget that image. And I don't know what happened to her. I didn't want to stay around. You know what I mean? It was too much.
It was, wow. That's the only thing I could say is like, maybe, was she looking at you when she got hit by the car? Or
Yeah.
because that would have been that's even more brutal. She's like, oh shit, it looks just like me. Ah, you know.
And I hope she is okay. But it was just it was one of those strange moments in life where, you know, I was headed in one direction, and then I pivoted. My heart changed and I pivoted. So I've been interested in the arts ever since.
Kate Kelton got a lot of views as well, and she's has her My OnlyFans, but it was doing so well. She posted it, and it was the raunchiest episode that I've ever had. I didn't expect that. That was wild. And then after about 4 months or 5 months, she asked me to take it off. So I did. I reluctantly did because it was fucking funny as shit. But I think maybe I gave away too many of her secrets, or she just felt a little. I don't know. It was fun. She was on it she liked it for like 4 or 5 months. So, anyways, so I took that off. So you can't find it. Maybe one day, but you know, somebody asked me. I rarely do that. I rarely take off. Very rarely. And then there's but she sounded angry about it, so I did. But anyways, Madison Orange was amazing. She's a very talented DJ and you know, hula hoops and all that. That was really fun. She's gotten a ton of views. And
Hi.
Hi.
Hold on 1 second. I just need to get this in my my Bluetooth speaker, and I can
Okay.
only do that when we're on.
Okie dokie. And while you're doing that, I'm going to begin the show and say this is my 71st show, the newest show, the first show of the 2022. And I am extremely happy and honored that Madison Orange would come on my show. I'm a little, let's see, I haven't done this for like a month and a half, so I'm a little raw. And I'm going to try to be a good boy. And this is Madison Orange. She is an open format DJ and LED and fire go-go star. Did I get that correctly?
That sounds perfect. We'll work with all that through this.
Okay, and now I'm gonna set the timer and we're going. This is so thank you very much for being on the show. Where are you right now?
I am in Mar Vista, which is near Venice Beach, California. Where are you? And you are making me crave a cigarette. Are you smoking?
Yeah, you can smoke on the show.
I love that you smoke on the show.
There's joints too.
Oh, perfect. This is my kind of show then.
And if you got beer, I recommend beer. Right now, I'm on an Always Down.
Ooh, I've not heard of that, but it looks good.
It's a double IPA, 9%.
Awesome. Oh, wow, 9%?
Yeah, Oregon's got this by 10 barrels. It's really good. It's light. It's delicious. I'm doing a commercial for it right now. I need sponsors.
Wonderful. Well, very fun. Thank you for having me on.
So let's talk a little bit about because we don't really know each other. I basically should almost call this instead of Brett's with Friends, friends from Facebook. But like I probably met you at some point, or we're linked together by some friends. And so I was seeing that you're putting out a lot of stuff. You're doing a lot of stuff. Why don't we kind of, because I'm notorious for not doing any research. So I'm coming in like a blank canvas. And also during this interview or this chit chat conversation, if you have passions or things that I'm not asking you that you want to talk about, just launch right into them.
All right.
But like, let's begin. Where were you born? How did you get into DJing? How did you get into dancing? And just your creativity, your inspiration, your movement. How did it begin?
I love it. So wait, did you say you're in Oregon? Because I was curious about that.
I am in Oregon.
Very cool. Okay.
I'm in Salem right now.
What's that?
I'm in Salem right now.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I'm not familiar with Salem, but I have been to Portland. It's so wonderful up there.
It's a funny place.
So I'm from LA. I mean, I was born in Montclair, which is the Inland Empire. And you know, my parents, I'm a product of the 90s. My parents were divorced. My mom was actually gay. Became very independent, only child, very young, kind of had like split homes, the 2 Christmases, the whole, that kind of thing. I feel like that's so 90s, like kids, all the kids I know had that. And the reason I say that though, and I bring light to it or bring it up is because I kind of found my independence really young. And so I learned how to earn it as well. So I'd get good grades and I'd be like, well, because I got good grades when I was 13 and my mom caught me smoking pot. I was like, well, I get good grades. She's like, well, I guess I can't really, you know, I learned to earn things, you know? And so I when I was like 16, I was kind of going in and out of homeschooling. I was working at a cafe, kind of living with friends. And I ended up at this place that some of you may know called Burning Man. And I went really young and I actually had to have a notarized note by my mom. And she kind of knew what it was. I mean, this was 2007. I was like, Mom, I want to go to this thing in the desert. She's like, okay, you know, I've already been to raves. I was already kind of like finding that music side, you know.
How old were you?
I was 16 turning 17 because my birthday is September 5th. So I actually turned 17 at Burning Man. And I had to get a notarized note with my legal guardians. And the funny thing is my first Burning Man camp, and if people know, Burning Man's really based on a bunch of theme camps. My first one was called the Red Light District. So I'm like, Mom, I'm camping at the Red Light District. It's going to change my life. I've heard it changes lives. She's like, okay. So I go and I see music and I see something called flow arts, which is known with hula hoops, poise, staff, a lot of different props. I mean, it's evolved so much since then, what props are considered flow props or dance props or whatever terms you want to use. It's such a community of people. People sometimes don't want to be like, don't call me a flow dancer. I'm a this, you know. So I found it really young and I knew that I wanted to make something of that, you know, and I've always kind of been very business oriented. My dad ran a business and I kind of grew up around that. So I wanted to be a DJ, but I got really good at hoop dancing first. And I remember kind of thinking it was because DJing and music is a male driven industry. I remember thinking that and going, well, I'm a girl, so I guess I'm going to go more the down. And I had dance training too. And I was like, oh, so I'm going to learn to hula hoop. I'm going to learn to fire dance. I'm going to go that route. But down, I was like, I want to just put that guy over and play the music, you know? So just to wrap it up really quick, my business that I own the trademark in the LLC. It's Go-Go Hoop Dance. And what that is that I've combined go-go dancing, which is elongated periods of dancing alongside a DJ or a band. You could be a burlesque. There's so many styles of music or dancing, right? Ballet, burlesque. Go-go dancing to me is like you see these girls or guys on stage or on a box or somewhere placed within a club or a venue. And what they're doing is they're dancing for a long time. And the purpose is to keep the audience dancing too. Because the music can be great, but sometimes you're like, I want to go outside and have a cigarette. I want to go get a drink. But there's something about the vibe of these great dancers that have been going around since the 50s, you know, where they were like dancing in their go-go boots and stuff. It keeps the audience going.
Yeah.
So with that business, and me being very familiar with that music world and the love of hula hoops, I put that together and I created a whole curriculum based on how to hula hoop for a long periods of time, and keep the audience dancing along with you, sort of thing. It gets way more deep than that, but if you can see it, that's my 15 years. I basically just gave you my 15, 16
Perfect.
years in that 10 minutes.
Well, there we got 45 more minutes to go. So
Okay,
we
well,
have
so
plenty of
that's just
time.
the start of it, really.
Yeah, that's a good. So my immediate thought or question I want to ask you is, what major mistakes, or what would you have liked to have known before you got into hoop and dance, and that you wish you would have known?
Well, okay, as soon as you say that, the first thing that comes to mind, and I'm sure I could think of other categories of that, but you know, I came in really headstrong in a lot of things, like this is how it has to be, and I've kind of had some, and it has been patched up over the years. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2006, 2007, so a lot has happened where you have falling outs, and then you come back together and you're like, hey, bro, friend, girl, you know, I was 25 and I thought I knew better, and I acted like this at a show, or I felt entitled, or I felt better than, or I was upset and projected or reacted. And those are all the things that in this industry of entertainment, you're going to lose people. And there's going to be asshole bosses. And I would just like be like sassy attitude back, and I never got called back for those jobs again. And so I've learned to be nicer, I guess, bite my tongue, see more of the sides of things, you know, like, you know, let's say you're working in something like EDC and your boss who runs the group comes in and they're like, you weren't on time and blah, blah, blah. And then some random 17, 19-year-old dancer comes up and goes, well, actually, I was here. You're never going to hire that girl again, even if she was right. And I was that girl for so long. And it really actually did push me into getting my own business, though, because I think I just knew how to do it better, you know,
Yeah.
and I just
So no, hey, that's what we, you know, hey, me, when I was 17 or 18 years old, I was just the same way.
Good.
You know, you think you know everything, and you know what you want to do, and you have a clear vision of it, and you don't give a shit who stands in your way.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, part of that self-entitlement that goes away. I'm 52 now. How old are you?
Yeah. I'm going to be 32 in September. I just keep telling everyone I'm 32, so I'm 31 and a half.
Okay, 31 and a half. Keep those halves. You're going to want every one of those halves.
You know, I've gotten more respect the older I get, though. So I think
that happens. Maybe not. Maybe
I think when I was younger, I was like, even if I knew better, it was like, well, you're 19, shut up. And now I'm 31 and I own a business, and people are listening finally, you know?
What did you feel like when you turned, like, for me personally, I think when I turned 28, that I felt like, oh, I don't know shit. Yeah. Was there ever a time that you, when you reset, you're like, holy shit, everything I thought that I knew was, you know it subconsciously, but like it's like a, you know, there's a 10-year cycle in things, or some people think an 8-year cycle in things, where, you know, the rhythm of things and the periods in your life are like chapters. When did that moment happen for you?
I think around the same time. I think like 27, 28, it really, really hit me that I didn't know better. I knew it all and I didn't at the same time. You know, I really calmed down a lot, you know, and I've been on that train even more so since then, you know. It kind of hit me then. I thought I could have my attitude younger, and it was like, because I owned it, I knew it. Now it's like, no, you just didn't know. You know?
It's also like it's like a great story. Like I think that life, and I've been kind of pontificating since Bob Saget died, and Norm Macdonald and Betty White and all these comedic legends, and it's like the fun is in the doing. Like when you're dead, you don't care anymore. So like these experiences that we have are like almost like we're not going to care about them when we're dead. So the journey is the destination. And so when you're taking advantage and you're like, okay, wait, I'm on Earth and this is what's happening. How do I want to spend my time? The clip that I did of Malcolm McDowell reaction video got like a ton of views, like I think 570 views. The reaction videos are fun. So maybe I'll show that.
You have to be cured.
It was horrible.
Of course it was horrible. Violence is a very horrible thing. That's what you're learning now. Your body's learning it.
I just don't understand about feeling sick the way I did. I never used to feel sick before. I used to feel like the very opposite. I mean, doing it or watching it, I used to feel real on a show.
You felt ill this afternoon because you're getting better. You see, when we're healthy, we respond to the presence of the hateful with fear and nausea. You're becoming healthy, that's all. By this time tomorrow, you'll be healthier still.
He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
Bonnie Root, an actor that I met at the premiere for Film the Movie with Jared Pastilli. She came on, she's gotten tons and tons of views, and she has really great, insightful, very insightful. Go back and look at these episodes because I learned a lot on some of these, and most of them I always learned.
Hello, Bonnie Root. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you feel me?
Yay. We're all here.
Yay. I'm going to put you on full screen. Let's go. Woo.
Woo. Ooh,
Hey.
Is that your artwork?
Yeah, this is my artwork.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just put the whites in just because they've been scuffed up for over the duration of the time I've had it. It got really scuffed up on the white part, so I popped it back out with the white.
Wow. What is it? I can't quite tell what is it watercolor or like mixed?
It's oil. This is
it's
oil, and this is ink on watercolor paper.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
That's just a silk screen that I just stamped all over the place.
Love it. Yeah, that one behind you, it's so fascinating. It looks like reminds me of kind of like an ink blot test, but then there's also like all these amazing colors going on. Like, when you see a rainbow in the like kind of oil spill or something.
Oh, that's the best compliment right there. That's what if you can get that iridescent, like oil on water, that opalescent thing going.
Yeah.
That's the fun part. That's a mistake. That's what you want to happen as much as possible.
Yeah, it's really cool. It has like a moth-like look to it too, like the mirroring kind of.
That's how I do it. I fold them.
Oh, so okay. That makes sense.
This is my the beginning of my new language is folding. This means something somewhere.
It does. Welcome.
Hey, so thanks for coming on the show. This is my 77th episode of Breaths with Friends.
Whoa.
And you are Bonnie Root. You are an actor, a musician, or a vocalist and songwriter, producer. Just chime in when you want to do more nomenclatures. What's your list?
Sometimes director, filmmaker, consultant, private coach, life coach,
How often does that life coach stuff happen?
Yeah, not official.
It's just dear friends.
I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I mean, just like do as I say, not as I do. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do the things that I.
This is the warning label on the front of the podcast. Is this don't do as I do as I do.
Duty.
Duty is also a good one. Duty. Anytime you can get duty in there is always good.
I know. Why is it so entertaining?
It's because we live in 2022. We are.
Yeah.
So, I usually like to do these like with like the basic thing is past, present, future.
Okay. Cool.
And so real quick, I want to just tell the story of how we met, and then we'll go back into the past, and then go to the present and future. Because I met you at the screening of your film, The Movie.
Yeah.
Is that still the title of it?
It is.
Okay.
Yes, our distributor, who we signed with shortly after that screening, Gravitas Ventures, loved the title, which, you know, we were always kind of on the fence, like with people, you know, everybody thought like, oh, they're going to have issues with that, or is it going to be confusing? But it turns out everybody loves, you know, the intrigue that is born of the confusion. So.
And did you not only act in this movie, did you have a producing aspect to it, or what? Did you have another aspect to it as well?
Yeah, I was a producer on it. Michael Mandel, the writer and director, and producer as well. We met in a screenwriting class, I think maybe about 6 or 7 years ago now. And you know, we just hit it off, had chemistry. We liked each other's writing. I was bringing my scripts in. I was also, you know, reading other people's material because I'm an actor, and you know, I like to do that too. And then we said, you know, let's do something together. Let's come up with something. And he was looking to have kind of a breakthrough moment, you know, to see some of his writing actually produced. And I had already myself successfully, you know, written, directed, produced, you know, my own projects, and, you know, one which we'll talk about later, my short film, Sissy. So I had, you know, kind of gone through that, and I said, hey, you know, I can help you crew and pull together, you know, what you need. If you can come up with a budget, let's just do this, you know, like do something small that is a, you know, labor of love, passion project that doesn't have to have a huge cast or a bunch of locations. And that was the challenge that we set out. It was kind of like, you know, when people do those like 48-hour film festival type things, I felt like we gave ourselves a challenge similar to that, which was, how do we use this one location? And this was even just before COVID. So, which, you know, then everybody was doing that. But, you know, we wanted to do something that was felt like kind of like a play where, you know, the writing and the acting was really the prominent thing. So yeah, so he started writing the script, we started workshopping it, and then we initially shot a little short kind of, oh gosh, what is that called? Like proof of concept type of thing. And then we just went for it. It just somehow suddenly all came together.
Then after that was Paul Provenza, who finally got out. I was so happy that he came on the show. That was super fun. I wish we could have got longer. But we did I up and loaded 3 times because I didn't have the full, like I didn't pay for the extra on Zoom to make it go longer than 45 minutes. So we had to do, so now I do. I have it now. I'm not going to do that with you guys. I'm not going to go on for a long time. But Paul Provenza is great. He's got a lot of views. Great guy. Someday, maybe, hopefully I'll work with him too. But he's great guy.
Mr. Paul Provenza, I really appreciate you coming on my silly little podcast, Brett's with Friends. This is my 79th episode. My mouth is numb. I just got through getting some stuff done to my teeth. And wow. So if my face looks awkward, if I start spilling my beer down my chin, it's just because my whole face is numb.
Did you get the Vicodin? That's all that matters.
No, I got the shots, and they put some you know, fillers, and you know, the cavities with the stuff with the make your teeth look pretty.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's just because when I don't just have cavities filled. When they go into my mouth, they yank out huge tracts of real estate and put in new prefab condo teeth. Yeah, half my mouth is fake.
Well, this is what it comes down to is, you know, when we're in our 20s, we're talking about pussy, and now we're older, we're talking about our teeth.
Oh, let me tell you about my colonoscopy, my friend.
Oh, I got one scheduled. What should I know about before I go into? I got one scheduled on the 25th of August. Should I be scared?
What you need to know is they're awesome. I don't care what anybody says. Fuck those hack jokes. Buy me dinner first, all that shit. Fuck that. The drugs are out of this world. They're the best, and they last till, like, you know, the next day. Really, it's the best.
Okay, so like, is that the Twilight thing? The Twilight thing that they give you?
I don't know what the hell it is, but you're asleep before you can even think about it.
Okay.
And when you wake up, you're nice and groggy and nice and high, and that's a nice buzz that lasts for a long time. Me like
Okay.
it. I'm
Oh, that's
I'm
fair.
gonna get in recreational colonoscopies.
Just just for the fun of it.
Yeah, a bunch of friends hang out, go get colonoscopy together.
It's like how people do mushrooms together, except they're doing colonoscopy.
Exactly.
So I wanted to start like this is a free form show, no script. We're just gonna make it a little bit as we go along. But I want to talk to you about the first time I ever met you.
Yes.
Do you remember this?
Was that at the Actors Gang?
No, it's at the Dr.
no,
Susan Block show.
What?
The Dr. Susan Block show. You remember that?
Oh, that's right. We met at Susan Block's show. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that was hilarious, man. That was so funny how I enjoyed it.
I love her. She's a great lady, man. She's all heart.
Did you ever hold on, the light fell down. Hold on. Oh shit. There you go. Did you ever see the footage from that day?
Was that the squirter day? Was that the day she had the doctor on making women squirt?
I got so fucked up that night. I don't even know what happened. I did cocaine that night. I never do cocaine. There was a guy up in the rafters by the end of the party that looked like he was about to jump from the rafters in this place in downtown. By the time I left, there was a guy who came in just off the street with a guy with the glasses who had a ball gag in his mouth, getting his ass slapped by Dr. Susan. The whole night was chaos.
Yeah, it was pretty kooky. Yeah. I remember that was fun. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a guy there who I think he was called Dr. Squirt or something like that. And his thing was that he can make any woman squirt, even if she's never squirted before, that he could make any woman squirt. And women were just lining up, okay, me next. It was.
I should have been at that one.
There needs to be a place for that in this world. Don't you think, Brett?
Well, I think Ron Jeremy solidified his place in that world. He's in jail for it now.
Yeah, we can't talk about Ron Jeremy anymore. He's this is the first time that Ron Jeremy and Bill Cosby have anything in common, right? All those years, now they are on the same Wikipedia page.
Who would have thunk? But I heard a story. My buddy was at a party with Ron Jeremy, and he came up to a mutual friend, and he just grabbed her and started like finger banging her. That's why he apparently, and she's like, "What the fuck?" It's like apparently he was notorious. Apparently he is notorious.
I used to go all the time, not all the time, but I used to go every now and then to porn star karaoke. Did you ever go to that?
No, tell me about this. What is this?
I don't remember any of the details. Some bar in the valley that had karaoke on like Wednesdays or something like that, and a bunch of porn stars would all go as one group, and so it would be mostly porn actors and actresses doing karaoke, and it was really a blast. It was really fun because they were so silly and goofy and everything. But I've seen Ron do that to people, and they had a lovely time. They didn't have any issues with it. So I suspect that Ron's barometer is a little bit kooky.
Well, he's 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
not like it.
Yeah, if you're off by 10%, that's still actionable. I'm pretty sure you go to jail for that.
Yeah, the Hedgehog. I actually had a group of friends, a trio comedy rap group called No Time. That I have to send you their. I'm going to try to get them on the show, but they did a song about Ron Jeremy, the Hedgehog, or they have a lyric in there. It's very 90s rap. They should have been as big as Beastie Boys. No Time. One of their songs is called "Eat All the Old People."
All right. Well, Ron Jeremy's in a bunch of songs, actually. I mean, he's kind of like, really. I mean, there's nobody who doesn't know his name. But he did the Aristocrats for us when Penn and I were making that movie, and we ended up having to cut it out of the movie, not because it wasn't good. It actually was great, and I'll tell you the story about it. But it actually was great. But what he did was a poem. He did like a little, it was like a ditty about the Aristocrats, a rhyming verse, and and we couldn't put it in because you couldn't cut it. I couldn't cut it. The movie is, cut into a million pieces, and I couldn't cut it, and so it had its own rhythm, and I couldn't fit it into the rest of it. But it was on the DVD release as one of the extras, and it was actually really like adorable. It's like I expected him to be like the most disgusting, and it was adorable. It was so cute. So I'm bummed out that Ron is guilty of such horrible things, because he's really like, there's a documentary on him called Porn Star. And when you watch the documentary, you walk away and you go, oh, this is like an old Alta Kaka Jew. He's like, there's like almost nothing hip about his life except for the fact that he's constantly fucking. It's really wild. He's like a little old Jewish man from the Bronx where I grew up. He's such a character. I hope, I'm sorry that he's the person that he apparently has been. I feel bad about that. I didn't know. Nobody knew.
I met him. I met him once. He came over to my house on Dudley Avenue once, and he came in with a friend of mine. And I was like, Ron Jeremy's here. And so we didn't really talk too much, but I kept on seeing him after that night. I kept on seeing him everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, he popped up. He popped up at your green room show. He popped up at this concert I was in. You could always see him in the corner.
Well, I first met him. I first met him in like the early 80s at the Comedy Store. He used to hang out at the Comedy Store all the time. I guess he's kind of famous for being a friend of Sam Kinnison's and introducing Sam to a bunch of women and stuff like that. But he was actually trying to do stand-up comedy at the time. In fact, I remember being at an acting audition, and there were a bunch of headshots laying on someone's table, and I saw a picture of Ron Jeremy, and I looked at it, and it said on the bottom, it had the name Ron Hyatt, H-Y-A-T-T. And that's how he was doing stand-up and submitting roles. He changed his name to Ron Hyatt. Didn't change anything about it. But he changed his name to Ron Hyatt, which he came up with because he used to hang out at the Comedy Store, which is right next door to the Hyatt Hotel. So I knew him as somebody hanging out at the Comedy Store. People always say, like, because we were really, when we were doing the green room, we were really striving for as much authenticity as is possible on television. And one of the things that we did was, everybody that was in the audience at the taping were people that you would find in a green room. It was all personal invites, myself, my producing partner, Barbara Roman, a couple of other people working on the show. So most of the people that were in the audience were comedians or some agents and songwriters and musicians, and people that you find in green rooms. That was a big part of making it feel like we're in a green room, was the fact that everybody in there knows what green rooms are like. And people keep going, why is Ron Jeremy in the audience all the time? And I was like, that's how I met Ron. I met Ron in the green room at the Comedy Store. I mean, that's how I met him. I knew him as a guy doing stand-up.
That's not Ron Jeremy. That's Ron Hyatt.
As Ron Hyatt, yeah. I mean, obviously, I knew he was Ron Jeremy, and I had actually, appreciated his work in the past. But yeah, I met a comic. He hangs out in green rooms. He used to hang out with comics all the time. So I was like, yeah, you can come then. So it's wacky.
Okay, so
Ron Jeremy, what a shame. What a shame that a person is, you'd never think of a person like Ron Jeremy would have a dark side.
Well, it just seems like we want to tear down our heroes. We bring them up and then we tear them down.
Yeah, we're going to have to look at the use of the word hero, but I guess.
Or famous people, maybe that's better.
Well, he's an icon. I mean, if there were a Mount Rushmore of porn, he'd be on it.
Yeah. Which part? Hey, so I want to do like
the Washington Monument is Ron's Mount Rushmore.
So a little bit about, I want to go a little bit about your past.
Oh, yeah, I see that painting behind you. That's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's almost from this distance and through this lens, it's kind of got a little Van Gogh quality to it.
It's an idea of it's supposed to be a guy. It's supposed to be a profile shot of somebody in a spaceship entering our atmosphere. This right here is the top. This is the human form, and these are some blasts of fire coming out the sides. And this is the sky up here. It's very abstract. It's an idea I did a lot better. Actually, well, it looks pretty cool like now. Like I like it like that.
It does. I mean, it looks impressionistic from here.
Yeah, it thinks it's a little palette knife, oil on canvas.
Well, you work in a lot of different styles, don't you?
Yeah, I work in like palette knife is a very freeing because you're not using a brush, but
Right.
I don't like to necessarily do texture just for the sake of texture. Like I don't like build up a painting with just texture, then paint something on top of it. I like it
Right.
to be part of the painting.
Right.
And things come out of that. And then you do some like some dry brush, and you're just doing when and layers and layers, really, until you get to a point where you get, I think it's done, or I should leave it alone.
Yeah, it's interesting when you use palette, you get these interesting, very subtle kind of shadows. It casts its own shadows and stuff, and it does cool things.
And when you work, so if this is the flatness of the canvas, if you're doing all these like cutting, and they're all these like almost like diamond, for lack of a better word, like cuts, when you put a high gloss on it, it reflects in different angles.
Right. Yeah. You seem to be talented and know what you're doing.
I put my 10,000 hours in.
Did you study?
I mean, I had 2 photography classes in high school and 2 art classes in art in high school. And my brother's a really good pen and ink artist, but he lacks any enthusiasm. So I think I kind of got all the enthusiasm for painting. And I sold my first painting when I was like 13 years old. It was an airbrush of a pepper going into water. One of those Japanese realistic airbrush. I was really an airbrush. I can do realistic stuff and I can draw, but I sort of made a conscious decision as a child because I could do cartoons really easy. Tex Avery, Chuck Jones, Frank Frazetta was a huge influence. Ralph Bakshi, and I found like I could do like a perfect like Popeye, like really good, and I'd be drawing that like. And I thought that, I don't know, it was weird because I thought cartoons would be too easy to do. So I went like a Van Gogh, Da Vinci-esque. Those were, Kandinsky, Matisse, Van Gogh obviously is the gold standard. But like I was influenced by those guys. And so I wanted to take my art into a different direction. And lo and behold, like all these people that are like illustrators or cartoonists, they're just making shit for other people to make profit off their genius.
Right.
So like, as you know, Tex Avery and Chuck Jones had the Termite Terrace, which I would love to make a movie someday of the Termite Terrace. Maybe have to get the Termite Terrace.
What is Termite Terrace? I've never heard of that. What is that?
The Termite Terrace was where Tex Avery and Chuck Jones and Fritz Freeling and all those guys would have a separate little shack in the back of the Warner Brothers studios. And that's where they developed their more adult oriented, like their comedy was not for kids.
They did
very psychedelic.
A lot of the older ones before they became, what we know as the Looney Tunes, a lot of their older work was really surreal.
Oh yeah.
Like they were doing drugs, clearly, a lot of this stuff. Remember those old cartoons like Betty Boop and Coco the Clown?
Oh yeah.
Those acid trips, man. They were way, way, way out there.
Those are for even Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, well, a little bit, yeah.
A little bit with the rolling of stuff, the rolling of the land.
Right. And one of my favorites was Betty Boop in, I think it's called Crazy Town. You know that one? It's like Alice Through the Looking Glass, but it's got that I think it was in the 20s, maybe 30s. It was freaking out there. It's wild. Yeah,
really crazy stuff. It was like they were doing like was cocaine still in Coca-Cola back then?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Well, I did a lot of studying on the Impressionists at the turn of the century, and because I played Picasso in Steve Martin's play.
Nice.
Yeah, I did it in New York, and I did it on national tour.
Wow.
And even though the play doesn't really call for like intensive awareness of subtleties or nuances or minutia about Picasso's work or his life, I just got really deep into researching Picasso and things about his work and what have you. And an interesting thing I came across was that those guys, we're talking, Picasso did Demoiselle d'Avignon, I think in 1905 or 1907, somewhere around there. The details escape me right now. So we're talking turn of the 20th century, and all of the Impressionists, I am convinced that Impressionism is completely a result of absinthe, because those guys used to drink absinthe like there's no tomorrow. And I don't know if you've ever had absinthe, like real absinthe, because absinthe, you can't get it in America anymore. You can get something called absinthe, but it's not made from wormwood, which is real absinthe. It's it's an absinthe-like substance you can get that they call absinthe here in America. But in certain parts of the world, you can get real absinthe. And I happened to be working in Hong Kong. I was doing some gigs over there, and the owner of the club also happened to be the licensed importer of real absinthe into Hong Kong. So it was like drinking water at his place. He was constantly pouring us absinthe, and I had never had it before, and I only knew it, it's like legend, and it's unbelievable. It's great. I could totally see people coming up with some of the amazing, work during the Impressionist period because of doing absinthe nonstop.
Was it psychedelic, or was it just drunk, or is it a combo of those two?
It's a weird thing. It's like you could call your mom on it. I mean, like, it doesn't fuck you up. Like, you don't get, you don't get stupid and and incapacitated in any way. But your experience of life is very different.
Interesting.
It can, I guess you can hallucinate on it. I don't think I ever, because I'm a lightweight, so I don't pound things back, and one glass of absinthe would last me an hour. But I'm pretty sure you can hallucinate on it. And those guys were doing it nonstop, so I don't know if it ever left their system. And wormwood, it basically destroys your brain. So you look at most of the artists from that period; they all had those fucked up lives.
Yeah. I mean, what else could they have gotten a hold of to make that change their perspective like that? Like mushrooms, they weren't doing mushrooms back then, were they?
I don't know.
They've been doing mushrooms forever.
All I know is if you're ever anywhere in the world where you can get authentic absinthe, check it out. And I'm not a druggie at all. I was 40 years old before I ever smoked pot.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer too.
I came up because I was doing stand-up. I was already making money as a stand-up, as a professional at the age of 17. And I learned real fast, stay away from alcohol. When you're in bars and clubs enough, you see that no good comes of alcohol. It really, I've just seen too many people get fucked up by, drinking. And so I've had periods, I've had binges and I've had experiences and things like that, but I'm not a big drinker. Still to this day, if I have 2 beers a month, it's a lot, and also I went through high school in the 70s, college in the late 70s, and I was in the working nonstop in comedy clubs throughout the entire comedy boom of the 80s, where club owners would offer to pay you in cocaine. And I would have to go, yeah, my landlord doesn't take that. I'm sorry. Could I have some green, please? It was just everywhere. And I never touched it in my entire life. I had no desire to. Because, I would see people on coke and I'd go, oh, yeah, that's what I need. Something to make me more anxious and obnoxious.
Darren Hall is the person with the second most views. And that was really nice and insightful. We got personal. All these kind of get personal. I don't know where these conversations are going to go. So, but I just talked to him today, told me, say hi, and yeah, that was a really interesting, insightful episode.
Did you have a Wonka?
So long, man.
Good sound, good video, makes for the best thing.
Yeah, you get one chance to get it in there.
I did a thing with Carradine, Robert Carradine, the actor, and we did one. He wanted because I'm used to doing these like on Zoom, so but he wanted to do it in person because we were staying right next to each other, and but there was an echo that happened, and I figured the echo. It was a great interview. We redid the interview, but it was like the echo was crazy.
And you can't get rid of it once it's in there if it's on.
No, because it was from we're like 10 feet across from each other, so it wasn't a technical thing. It was also our voices going to each other's mics.
Oh, there you go.
So, all right. Well, we're gonna do this. Hey,
All
Mr.
right.
Darren Hall, welcome to Brett's with Friends, episode 44.
44. Wow, 4-4. That's my address, 44 Gore. So that's weird.
Really?
Cool.
Well, don't tell everybody where you live.
Well, you didn't get the rest of it. There's a lot of 4-4 Gores. And anyways, come see me. It's I got my shots. I've had my shots. We're good.
I got my shot 2 days ago. Yesterday was a shit show. What was yours like?
The first one hurt a little bit. It was fine. It was easy. I did it at a college. It was just like a community pop-up thing. They're like, we have 800 doses that are going to go bad. Let's get it on. So I showed up and they popped me and it was good to go.
So you did which one did you do?
Pfizer.
I did the Johnson & Johnson, the one shot drop.
You're the J&J. Whoa, you're the one that nobody's ever. Have you seen the meme? Have you seen that meme video of the guy having every conversation? So you break the mold. You're the Johnson & Johnson nobody's ever met. Everyone's freaking out. Like six people had a blood clot. And it's like, shut the whole thing down.
I just want to do the one shot. I'm not organized to pace out 2 weeks ahead of me.
My follow-up is, and it was one of those things. They just hand you a card and it has a date on it. And you're like, okay. They cut you loose. I'm looking at it. It's like a number for the CDC. I'm like, I feel like that's probably a little few pay grades above where I'm calling if I need help for my shot at Smith College. And then they hit me with an email this morning. It's like, to the wire, guys, right to the wire. So Sunday is number 2.
I think you're gonna feel probably what I felt yesterday.
Yeah. What was that?
I was sluggish. I
Uh-huh.
slept and took showers all day. I painted. I wanted to get up and do things.
Showers all day. Was that like a thing, or did you have like the the smell that when you get what's that? I forget what that's called. The keto.
When you're dead.
No. Like when you go on a real long one and it's like that 3 days, like almost like you're sweating the drug smell. The keto acetosis. No, you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't have it. But I usually do. Besides life, no. I just sweated a lot, and I had the shivers, and I kept on sluggish and tired. But I didn't eat. It was good for losing weight. I didn't eat all day.
You go. I just hit a 34. I'm down from a 36, dropping that dad weight finally. Hey,
Did you get the belly?
A little bit, yeah. The sympathy belly thing and good food, and then COVID sitting home. I cook rich, man. Put it in butter and grill it up and
asparagus. Garlic, salt, and butter, and asparagus.
All of it, anything, just load it in butter and fry it, and it's delicious.
Is butter and salt bad for you?
It's like eggs. It's bad, it's good, it's whatever. Don't go overboard, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
I don't know. It tastes good. It's good. It's good for my mental health.
So what's your favorite thing to make?
Oh man. Right now so my brother got me a sous vide, one of those Anova sous vides. And I didn't use it for like a year. And then I decided, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. Cause I didn't want to go out and grill. It was raining and it was so dank. It was
What is a sous vide?
A sous vide, it's like a water bath cooking. So you put a little thing in there and it brings the temperature of the water up to the exact temperature you want. So like if I'm cooking a steak medium rare, I set that sucker to 131, and then I'm going to bring it up probably 4 degrees in the pan when I'm basting at the end in butter. You can let it sit. The beauty of it, because I got kids, timing different dishes, timing stuff is a beast. With a sous vide, 45 minutes to 4 hours is kind of your window. And you just take it out. The entire thing is perfectly cooked to temperature, and then you just sear the outside. So it's kind of like cooking it in reverse. You cook it, and then you sear it. So I can just toss, whatever steak, strip steak, T-bone, whatever I'm feeling, right in the bag. Let it sit. Get all the sides ready, everything going, and then right at the very end, you just baste it in butter, a little bit of herb, boom, done, nice. Perfect. So keeping it simple.
That's good because you have kids, so you have to manage the time of things being made. I made a chicken. I did an organic chicken on the barbecue grill, but I marinated it overnight in this Malibu dry rub stuff.
Okay.
It said marinate it overnight, and then I cracked it into the, where it was flayed.
You spatchcocked it. That's the you spatchcocked that.
I like to brag, but
not to brag, but spatchcocked twice.
And I watched this tutorial on YouTube where it was like this older gentleman was making he doesn't do YouTube videos, but he did it like he just showed how to do it old style. His wife had the camera, and so I followed his directions. And he said pan-seared it on full flames for 6 to 10 minutes, and then flip it and do the same thing, and then turn it down to 250, which is basically turning off 2 of the burners, and letting it do that for like an hour, maybe an hour 20, maybe hour 10, depends. But that was the best chicken I've ever had in my entire life.
See, they know the way. And it's funny, you can just watch a YouTube video on anything now. We're all instant experts. It's just like, yeah, no, I watched a video one time and now I can do that. That's good. This is my first COVID cut. Hey, this is the 10-minute YouTube tutorial video.
Good hair. Welcome.
I thought I'm almost 37 and I've never cut my hair before. And I thought, why miss that opportunity to cut your own hair? Not even as a kid.
You have good hair in your family. You can't waste that. Do it for us. Do it for the guys that can't do it.
Yeah.
Your money maker right there.
Let it furl.
Screw the talent. It's all about the hair.
Hey.
So wait, let's talk about your let's talk about you growing up in a musical family. If you want to talk about like your father or something, like what was it like growing up with in a musical family that was popping and still is like omnipresent in today's music stratosphere?
So, I mean, I didn't. You'd have to ask a child who was raised by their musical family. I was in Duluth, Minnesota, holding it down, just like a regular dude, regular kid. I didn't even meet my dad until I was an adult.
Oh wow!
It was literally I flipped over a CD and looked at the production company, and then emailed the production company and got a number for another woman that ran a fan club that gave me another number to a dude, and then I talked to that dude. And then I showed up at a concert in LA and was like, "What's up? I'm your son."
And what was his reaction?
Yeah, so I mean, it was like that. Hi. Like, it was what it was. I don't know what you say to somebody you haven't known in however long. It's
Did
like,
you-
it
were
was
you-
cool. We hung out, we did some stuff.
I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
Lost you. No,
Am
it's
I still
good.
there?
Your audio cut out.
Sorry. Continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, there's nothing to interrupt. Like I said, the amount of time we've had, if you took my life as a whole from my birth until now, and we laid it over this conversation, the amount of time we've already talked about my dad is like the amount of time I've spent with him. So there's not too much to say,
Yeah,
other
totally.
than he's a human and I'm a human, and we hung out and now we don't hang out.
But when did you know you had a knack for music?
Oh, I mean, early on, I guess I took Suzuki piano when I was like 3 years old or 4 years old, and I remember liking it. And then I guess my mom tells me like I just refused one day to go to lessons, and I don't remember that, but that tracks. That sounds like me, So, okay, I believe you. And then I didn't do piano, and then I've always been musical. How kids are. Even my kids are like that. You put on a song, you want to sing it, you want to dance around. I started playing violin when I was in like 5th grade, partially just because the school offered it, and it was like a cool thing you could do twice a week and not be in regular class. You like got to go to like violin class. I was like, that's cool.
And how old were you when this was happening?
This must have been 5th grade. So, how old are 5th graders? I don't know. I could add up from mine. I don't know, 9, 10 years old.
I don't even know what kids are.
Yeah, I know. They're like, they're just vaguely this age, and then they're bigger. So I played violin, and then I played guitar. I went to church when I was a kid. I was a very good church kid for a while, and then I was Assemblies of God, Pentecostal. So if you know the running up and down the aisles, speaking in tongues, waving their hands in the air, falling over, the whole deal. You remember in the 90s, like that revival, and it was like Christians, but we're cool like God Rock, and we got tattoos like Crown of Thorns. Check out the back, the Power Team, rip a phone book. It was like that
White Strike
thing. Oh, don't even get me started. Yeah, and all those Skillet. Oh my God, Skillet jars of clay. The DC Talk, all these crossovers. Oh. So my musical childhood was dominated by this. I don't know, this doppelganger music. It was like a parody of Top 40. Like, you didn't get Smells Like Teen Spirit, you got Jesus Freak, which, if you've ever heard the song Jesus Freak by DC Talk, is like a direct rip on Smells Like Teen Spirit, but it's like the Christian version. So like, I didn't know, and like so many things. So like, then all of a sudden I wasn't anymore. I had my, spiritual unawakening. Would you call it? What do you call it when you become an atheist after being a Christian? I suppose I unspiritualized, and then like I jumped into musical pop culture. I'd say pretty late in the game. So I like don't know anything. All these foundational things that people talk about that are like, oh man, and this, and I grew up with it. Like, I missed all of it. I'm like, did you Amy Grant was pretty good. So like, not like nothing. I don't know. So I find my way. But I don't know anything musically. People are like, you know this guy, you know that guy, you must know everything. And I'm like, I know nothing.
It's good though.
I know what I like. Hey,
I'm sorry.
Tabula rasa. I'm a blank slate. I just said I'm a blank slate. I hear something and I'm like, that's good or that's not good. Somebody's like, you said that's not good. That's like that's a formative thing that started the post-punk genre. I'm like, well, I don't know what it did, but I wasn't there. Yeah. And hearing it now, I don't know. Or maybe it's amazing. It's all music. It's all great. Music is everywhere. So
yeah, I like sometimes when you're taking a trip down, you're doing a road trip or something like that, there'll be like that song that comes on. You go, I never heard this song before. Man, it's really good. Super. The vocals are really, who the hell is? Then all of a sudden they'll like put in Jesus is your savior. And like, oh God, they got me. They got me for a second. They got
flicking through the Christian stuff, or like I wouldn't know stuff. So like every once in a while, a Christian band would like cover a not Christian thing, like some classic song, and I'd have no idea. So like someone would be like, man, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, yeah, have you ever heard this Fields of Gold song by this techno group DBA? And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I didn't know that was a Stings. I didn't know that. I just heard it from like some cover. So that was just like me constantly with like musical egg on my face all the time.
What kind of music are you listening to these days?
It was great. Like you're that band.
Hold on, you're cutting out there. It might be my Wi-Fi. Hold on for a second. Now, are you there now? Talk.
I'm here. Am I here now?
You're here.
Okay, I could have like turned my head too. It's a pretty directional. Like I don't have an Omni, an old SM58.
I'm also like in the back of this mountain, so
I see that. This is like you're a Sherp up and you're up in the mountains somewhere.
Yes.
You're having a spiritual. This is Brett's spiritual journey. We're just popping in to say hi.
Well, it's a really nice place to be at right now.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's sunny. Massachusetts, man. I miss Los Angeles so bad.
It is up the mountain.
Oh, and you're in TO, you say?
Yeah.
I love it. I spent some time in West Hills and Thousand. I had a friend when I was a video game tester in another life. The office was in Thousand Oaks, so
It's cool. It's a little, it's secluded. I want to do some traveling soon. I'm getting a little antsy.
Yeah. Well, if things are opening back up, I hear Iceland says if you got your shots, come on over. You can get ridiculously cheap flights to Iceland right now.
How much?
Like $300 round trip to Iceland.
Really?
Yep.
I do like
they
the ladies.
Really
I
want
like
you to
the
come.
Icelandic lady.
I hear they like you as well. My understanding, and this could just be like one of those urban legends that they tell travelers to lure us in. Like Icelandic sirens on the rocks, and we're gonna crash our ships and they'll loot us. I don't know what they're doing out there, but they say because they're let's get real anthropological here for a minute. Their breeding stock is pretty thin, so they want to welcome new blood. They're like, come on, bring people. There's like only 50 of us. We're Svensons and Bjornsons and Jarnsons, and like we need some other places to come on in here and drop off some material for us.
Well, I'll
I don't know if you got to stay. I'm pretty sure you just got to go and have fun for a couple of weeks.
I think I'm too old to have babies right now.
Well, you don't need to have. That's the point. I don't know that they want you to keep them. I think they want to raise them in the ways of like the Sval.
That's a win-win.
You're just dropping off. It's like, here you go. I picked up some stuff. I left some stuff.
There should be some good stuff in there for you.
Yeah. Who knows? You could sire the next Bjork.
That would be wild. I'd love to have kids. I mean, I was raised to think that I was gonna have like 2.5 kids and be married by the time I was 25.
No,
But
that's
as
the
I
dream.
got to like age 22 or 21 or 22, I was like, because I have art, it was like, so, all my stuff I was working out through my art, emotionally or dramatically or whatever. And I didn't really, as I like every these 5 or 10 year links of time would pass. And I was like, oh, I actually have because I never thought I could afford children really, because I was raised in a broken home and stuff like that. So I didn't really, and all the PTSD from just being a child
Sure.
in my house.
You want
But
to do it right, and everybody has the idea of the way that it needs to be right. And I get it. You want to shoot for the, set goals.
well, I was doing a job in Marina Del Rey at this guy's house, and his wife was there, and they're millionaires. And I was doing this installation of a thing in their house, and we're alone with her, and I'm getting organized, and I see her daughter on the porch overlooking the ocean, right? And the glass door is closed, and she's all, oh, you have kids? You got a wife? I said, no wife, no kids. And she goes, how old are you? I was probably like, I think I was like 40 at the time. And she looks at her kid out the window, gorgeous, 21-year-old woman. And it's like a picture of a movie. And she looks back at me and she's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And so, but what are you talking about? You got a beautiful home. You're millionaires. She goes, you're lucky. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And I was like, oh, you crushing my dream, So I think that was a lot.
Stroke. I could not think of a greater joy in my life than my children. So I think that might just be her.
Yeah.
I'm going
just
to
makes for a funny story.
Some people don't need to have kids. I think some people, as you said, fall into the I'm supposed to have this. Certainly if you're wealthy, you need to have your heirs, right? That are you can send that's your life by proxy, right? Because your life ended, you were a beautiful starlight. Okay, put yourself in this woman's position. I'm going to make a ton of assumptions. You said she was rich and beautiful, so she was probably raised rich and beautiful, and those are the things that she finds worth in herself. And then those are fleeting, though, right? Beauty is fleeting. We know that. We're artists. We know all about the fleeting nature of beauty and the ugliness that lies right under the paint. So, what do? You have some kids, hopefully, that are better than you, and you can put them through all the things and join the polo club and do the thing. And I guess maybe you find out after a few years, you don't want to take it back. I mean, I have a cat, and I've had that cat for 14 years. I'm like, shit, I love that cat, but I'm glad she's 14. I want to have nice furniture again. So I get. Oh, she's a sweetheart, Callie cat. She's a Venice OG too. She was up and down the cuts of Venice.
Have you checked out any scenes in Venice lately? Have you seen what's happening over there?
I mean, I think I'm subscribed to Venice 311, because you got to be, even when you leave the area, you got to get the alerts where the crazies are at, what's going on. And, I got some ties. I still talk to Haz. I still talk to,
how's Hazard doing?
I get, he's got that new band. What was it? He went through a couple. He's still Ginger Merchant. Then it was like the Overnight Failures, which I thought was a great name. And now it's him, and I forget the guy's name. They're still doing some stuff. Hazard's still Hazard, man.
I got to talk to him.
There's the canary in the coal mine. There's the fucking canary in the coal mine. When Hazard leaves Venice, it's time to go.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's the final sign.
Yeah, well, we had Sponto. I think it all changed when Sponto died. When Sponto died, it kind of like was kind of like 2008, I think it was, or something like that.
When we did the gallery. That was the Spontification gallery. That was right at that time. He died, and I missed it by 3 months. I think I'd been in there before, and I had no idea where I was. One of those things.
Yeah, we hung out. I remember. He visited me over this. I didn't even know he knew where I lived, and I rolled him a big joint. And he was talking to me about like moving or staying or getting a place down there or in Malibu or something like that. And I was like, dude, you can leave and this place that you can come back. You don't have to be stuck in Venice. And,
then why did you tell him when you did it?
I don't know.
Because Venice changed. I remember it was and you were around for it too. It was when, to me, the real nail in the coffin was, you remember when all the guys on the not beach side got together, their little business meeting, and they're like, nobody can sell. You remember that bullshit law firm? What was it? It was anything that had a use. You couldn't sell anything, and they were trying to target. They sell those kit rings from India and like fucking hacky sacks.
Yeah,
from
tchotchkes
Jamaica
from downtown.
Tchotchkes from downtown, and they didn't want the competition from the dudes sitting on the blankets weaving up jewelry and like making stuff. So then they passed that law, and they said you can't make anything that you can use. Like a ring, you can use that, and it was basically like all you could do now was photographs and painting. Art. That's it. Because Brad, as you know, paintings have no use. That's no use for a painting.
None.
So dumb. And then I just remember, then everything on both sides was tchotchkes, and all the artists left, and we made that last little gas bid. I think everybody with the art crawl and the pop-ups and like, let's get these guys in places.
Yeah, you guys had a gallery.
We tried to, and the whole point of that gallery was like, all you get, like everyone from Venice, all you beach people that got displaced, like hang it up on the wall. Let's try to sell it. I remember one time a homeless guy came in asking for money, and I said, well, I'm broke too. I don't have any money, but I have wall space. And he said, well, I'm not an artist. I said, well, you can make something. There's Sharpies over there. I got painting. We had supplies just out on tables. I was like, make something. So he drew up a couple. I mean, they were bum signs. They were just some funny bum signs. And he hung a couple. I said, I'll hang 2 of them. And I hung them up, and some kid came in. He wanted to buy it. And I was like, of all the paintings, sure. $35, took the 35, took my commission because I said, we got to keep the lights on. And I gave the guy a $20 bill. It was like 2 days later, I went and found him. And he was just like, he couldn't believe it. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, man, like that's what we're about here. Let's
more of that shit.
Want commerce and art. Okay, we'll give them commerce and art. But yeah, it was not to be. Rent was brutal, and Bank of Venice always had that spot. It was always supposed to be Bank of Venice's spot. They were just working on that liquor license.
Yeah.
So the days were numbered, and we weren't making any money. I remember Jose used to come down. Darren, I need to wet my beak. Do you have my money? Darren and Steve, I need my money, Darren. You must know Jose. Out and around.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, things like galleries don't last, man.
No, it wasn't. And we were in the death spot. We were in the spot that used to be the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. Is Bank still there? I don't even know, because that place for years.
Yeah, I think it's still there. I don't know.
Look up these things. And also now at number 1, the most viewed Brett's with Friends episode was with Mr. Robert Carradine.
You got the prerequisite pot plants. You got the whole thing cooking. The palm trees in the distance.
Well, for this moment, we are in. This is gonna be funny because we're sitting next to. For this moment, we are in paradise.
Absolutely.
And
how you look at it.
Did you know
This is going to be a problem. Let's just shoot. Can I just turn my volume off? My mic?
Let me see.
No, I can't because you need the input.
My volume. Let's see if that works out better.
Test 1 2 test. Test 1 2 test. Do you see that it's coming in?
Yeah, I mean I can hear you. I turned on my volume.
I got it.
So can we have
it
our
up like
volume down and be recording voice?
Yes, we can definitely do that.
What's happening right now?
No, I don't know what's happening right now.
Well, I'm recording, so we'll see if we can use it.
Okay, so you want me to turn the sound on the computer off?
Or let me see. Do you want to do a test and see if we recorded it?
No.
To see if it works. Well, I'll stop the.
Yeah, you better see if it was working. If it was working, okay, and the sound is good. Do you have cans to listen to it?
I can just play it through my computer.
It won't sound good. I mean, it'll sound good enough to see if it sounds good enough. You know what I mean?
Let me here. What I'll do is I'll do this. I'll do this. Okay. If we got, I know you have a time crunch here, but let's do this. Let's end the recording. I'll download it, and then we'll play it back and see if it works.
Cool.
It'll take like 10 minutes.
It's fine.
That way we're.
You're Brett, right? Yeah, I thought so.
You know, it's funny. So we have Brett Woodson, and I don't know if you remember him.
Hey, Brett.
I remember you, Brett. You're in Craig's.
I got headphones this time.
Oh, good.
He's in the garage like Kurt.
I think you were on shrooms last time too, weren't you? Tripping on shrooms.
Oh
last time?
yes, that's right. I was, and I have to redeem myself because. Is there an echo right now?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Recording, admit. Yes. Can you see me?
Hey. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. We're gonna get this. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, full screen. Yeah.
You want the computer like this?
Yeah.
Like this.
I like it. The second one. If you have something to put that like that.
Yeah, but let me get it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, guys, this is Brett Woods. Oh, yeah, it's me, Brett. This is the episode 40 of Brett's with Friends. Welcome, one and all. I know it's been a lot going on out there. I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this for a little bit. So, this is our episode 40 with Mr. Robert Carradine. Mr. Bobby Carradine. Robert Carradine. Do you like to be called Robert professionally, or is it Bobby for your friends?
Professionally, it's Robert, but all my buddies call me Bobby, and then the uninformed try to call me Bob, but I immediately correct it.
I'm glad I asked that right off the top. So hey, thanks for coming back on with or this is the audience doesn't know, but we've tried doing this once before, but due to my technical strategy and unknowing of things, we have to do this again. So I appreciate you doing this with me on the 40th, officially the 40th episode of my weird little podcast. Thank you so much, Mr. Robert Kennedy, for being here, or Carradine. Sorry, God, Jesus Christ. So we have a lot to ground to cover.
I'm eating a little string cheese.
Ooh.
Because I'm missing my dinner right now.
Oh, for me, for us.
Yeah.
Man. Are you a big cheese guy?
No.
Oh.
But string cheese is fun to eat.
Yeah.
So every now and then, I get a 6-pack.
Nice. Do you just eat it plain all the time, or do you have it with like crackers or anything?
Oh, if I'm gonna do cheese and crackers, then I get real cheese, not string cheese.
Okay. What's your go-to cheese?
Gruyere.
Ah, nice.
Swiss, man.
Yeah.
All the way from Switzerland.
Have you been to Switzerland?
Yeah, I had a Swiss wife. I even have a Swiss passport.
Is it any good still? Can you still use it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just got it renewed like a couple of years ago.
Nice. So, you've been in the Hollywood business. You're a Hollywood native. You're born and raised there. You're part of this amazing. Oh, what happened? Hold on. Something happened on my end. Hold on. Remind me. Something popped up on my screen. Can you still see me?
Yes.
So strange. Hold on one second. Let me see. How come I can't see you? Hold on one second. Something happened. Hold on. Something happened on my end. I don't know what just happened. Hold on. What happened? What happened? Where's the screen at? So you're still there, right?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Todd?
So weird. Hold on.
Can you hear me, Brett? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, except I can't see you on the screen. So I'm gonna try to figure out what just happened. That pop-up just came out my window. Quit. Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Woof. Man, oh man. Okay, so you're part of this. Basically, you've been acting pretty much all your life, except you started when you're in your late when you're 17 and did the Cowboys.
I started my film acting when I was 17, but the summer before, I was in a movie. My father was doing a summer stock production of Tobacco Road in Florida. So I drove across the country with him in his 65 Coupe de Ville.
Nice.
And I'll never forget this. He finally let me drive because he wanted to take a nap. And he's like, "Okay, son." He looks at his watch. "According to my calculations, we should be in Baton Rouge at 4 p.m. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as he goes to sleep, I just run that puppy right up to 100 miles an hour, just wham, cruising across Texas. Get to Baton Rouge, it's 4 o'clock. I wake him up. I go, Dad, we're in Baton Rouge. He goes, just like I predicted. I'll never know if he knew I was going to go 100 the whole way and factored that in, or if he's just kind of not a very good navigator.
What was your father like? I mean, I grew up watching your father on. I mean, he worked with. Did he work? I mean, stop me. A list of things. You worked with John Huston. Other legendary guys that did you ever meet John Huston, or what was it like growing up in the environment? I mean, there's so many.
Well, we were kids, and we weren't going to location with them and stuff like that. And he's just like a dad. I remember early on, we freaked out one night because we saw him get killed on TV, and Mom had to explain to us, no, he's not. He's pretending. I mean, it took some doing for her to calm us down. But, when he was around, he was great. Really, he was a great man. And just the way he spoke and the tone of his voice. I mean, I don't know. I think we were all kind of in awe of him.
Yeah, he did he worked for. Did he start off as a young actor as well, or he was in it all his life as well, right?
Oh no, his first profession was sculpting.
Oh, really? Oh.
Professional sculptor, and at the same time that he was doing that, he was starting to put together the pieces for a Shakespeare road company, so he could go around the country and do Shakespeare. But he was out of the gate. He was a sculptor.
How did was his father an artist of some sorts as well, or no?
Well, our grandfather was a fellow named Beverly Duff Green Reed Carradine. He had all those names.
Wow.
And he was instrumental in the creation of the Holy Rollers in the Deep South. And I think he wrote 5 books on theology, and they're all at Tulane University in the library, where he was also a professor.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't like us. He actually earned a living.
Wow. Did you ever know him either? Did you know him?
Long gone.
No, but did you ever meet him as a child, or no?
No. I mean, my dad was 50 when I was born.
Yeah.
So he was an older father for sure.
Yeah. Gosh, what a career. And what a career you've had. I mean, you've been in it, doing it. I mean, when I checked out your IMDb, I did some light research. I didn't want to get too much of it because I just want to, I want to talk. How come my low battery? Oh God, what's going on here? Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure this is plugged in. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Stay with me.
All right,
Stay with me.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
How to use things with Moksha, episode Pencil Sharpener, take 1.
Hi there, I'm Moksha. Welcome to Moksha's world of stuff. Today, the pencil sharpener. Yes, the pencil sharpener. I know you all remember the days when you used to actually write things down on paper. Those days will come back and you will need to sharpen your pencil. So to my right, we have your standard everyday pencil sharpener. I'm going to show you how to take this little pencil with its blunt tip, stick it in this guy, and make it sharp as a pin. First, you want to take your pencil. I've got a Mongol Terracotta 813 on my hands. You want to find the hole. I'm going to get down so I can really finagle the deal. Right. Find the hole. See the hole? The point of the pencil here This is going into the hole. You don't want to put it here. You don't want to put it here. You don't want to put it here. You want it to go here. So make like a little airplane. Take your pencil with your left hand and insert. You're getting the insertion? Got it? Now it's inserted, fully inserted. Take the pencil with your left hand. Take your right hand and take the little knobby black thing between your thumb and your pointy right finger and hold tight. Now, there's a lot of holding going on. Okay. Hold here, everything squishes together. 3, 2, 1,
Okay, we're talking about Richard Harris, and the first time you guys met, what that might have been like.
He was very gracious. He was Richard Harris, you know, major international movie star, and he had no entourage or any of that kind of fluff about him. He was just there working as an actor. Amazing, down to earth guy. I miss him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I heard some of those stories, like with Peter O'Toole and all those guys, and how drinking with those guys, and like who's the other guy? The other he was in Baron Munchausen. He was a hardcore actor, very macho. God, what was his name? Anyways, maybe I'll put it on the screen, or it'll come to me. But so now that you've been in the industry, do you see any different cycles to this industry? I mean, it's obviously changed a lot. Oh wait, real quick, Bo Derek. Can you tell me that Bo Derek story real quick? If you can, because it's a classic. It should be made into a movie. I have it all in my brain, but it's such a great story. I think people would really get a kick out of it. If you're willing, the one where you hung out with her for a little bit.
I got the location in Halifax. You want me to tell it, or?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, here it comes.
Do it. Rock and roll.
I got to Halifax, Canada, and my first day on the set, you know, there's always a lot of waiting around on a movie set. And I'm looking around, and, you know, I see this drop dead, gorgeous blonde sitting all by herself, over there somewhere. And it's like, I went to a crew guy, and I said, "Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, that's Bo Shane." Well, actually, she just got married. It's Bo Derek now. I went, "Oh, well, why is she all alone?" I don't know. So I go over there, I ask her why she's all alone, and she says, "I don't know. I guess nobody wants to talk to me." I'm like, "I'll talk to you." So, you know, we're riding back and forth to work, you know, sharing stories. I'm trying to keep her laughing. And anyway, it was just, you know, she's just Bo Derek, and I'm talking to Bo Derek, and it was just really a great moment in time, okay? Yeah. So we finish up the shooting in Canada, and we go to Malta, which is a little island between Africa and Europe.
This sounds like the beginning of a raunchy romance novel.
Oh,
here's the setting.
Don't get your hopes up. But anyhow, I get there and I check into the hotel, and there's a note that the Bo called, and I thought, that's cool. So I called her up. I said, "You're not in the hotel?" She said, "No. John wanted me to have my own space or whatever, something like that." John is her husband. And so we go to dinner, I think, riding back and forth to work in the van. One evening I tried to get her to take a walk on the beach with me, but she wouldn't. And basically just a great girl to get to yuck it up with. So anyhow, it may have been the next day or a couple of days later, I get a call, and it's a guy, and he says, "Is this Robert Carradine?" I go, "Yeah, who's this?" He goes, "This is John Derek." I go, "Oh, hey, John, how you doing?" He says, I'm all right. I'm just a little perplexed about something. I wondered if you could help me clear it up. When you got to Malta, you called Bo. And I said, well, actually, John, when I got to Malta, there was a note that she'd called because I don't know, he says, listen, thank you, and hangs up. So I'm sitting there going, oh boy. Oh boy. So then he calls back. I don't even know if it's the same day or not. And he says, so I talked to Bo, and she says, oh, flag on the play. The reason that he knew that I had called Bo is because she's staying in this like private residence, and there's a person in there that answers the phone and stuff, and took a note. See? Yeah. So I said to John Derek, I said, so anyway, I didn't call her back. I called her back. He said, you called her back? I said, yeah, when I got to the hotel, there was a note she called. He goes, oh, well, thank you again. So now I'm thinking, oh boy. So I go downstairs to get a drink, and Richard Harris is sitting there. He says, my boy, you want a drink? Or whatever he said. I said, yeah, listen, man, here's what's happening. And I told him. I said, you told him that she called you first? You never tell on a woman, Robert. Never. Oh, Bar, give him another drink. Anyhow, I guess it was the next day. John called me up and he said, okay, look, one of you is lying. And if Bo is lying, I'm going to divorce her and shoot you. If you're lying, and I don't remember what happened to me if I was lying, but I said, John, listen, man, I've always been a very truthful guy. I was afraid, so I lied. He says, there, now I won't have to bend you over my knee. This is all on the telephone, by the way. And I couldn't wait to get away from location after this event. So I did my last shot, and I'm walking through the base camp, and I see Bo in her trailer, because the trailers all had these big glass windows that look out. And her curtains were open, and I saw her, and we made eye contact, and she mouthed the words, thank you. And she stayed married to John till he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen her and later, like, have you ever seen her?
I've seen her 2 or 3 times, and I was, I just wasn't comfortable approaching her. And I know her husband, John Corbett, is a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to, at some point, just have a little chat with her about what happened down there and just see how she remembers it, you know?
I'm sure she'd dig it. She's a pretty chill person. She seems super cool.
Totally chill person.
Yeah. Always been chill. She does a lot of work with horses or something, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's a real horse nut.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Wow.
And Robert was great. We had done that originally in person. I had him on one of my laptops, and we were talking about the echo. It echoed all over the place, and I was unfortunately not able to use it. That's why I like this Zoom format, because it cuts out a lot of the, I don't know, it makes it very easy to do it, but we don't sit across from somebody to do it, and that was a fucking funny interview. And so he was gracious enough to come back and do it a second time. And so I had to make it fun and original again. But that was fun. Great guy. So yeah, he's at number 1 with the most hits. And so also I wanted to thank like early on Michael Webb was my technical support. Vesey Meek did the theme song, and Paul Chesney did a version of it as well. And that was a fun one too. Paul Chesney was really great. All these are really fun. I've got 88 episodes, and trying to squeeze this last one in at the end of the year. What were you talking? Oh, the Moksha. Moksha is I've had her how-to video that we made on the show, and I'm gonna maybe put one up here. Maybe also a short film that I directed, and you know, I do like to direct films. I do have a feature film that I want to do very, very badly. The jokes are solid, and just got to get the right people to do the right thing. And then I also have this other Flat Cat and Roadkill, a project that is kind of, it's gestating. It's percolating. There's something's gonna happen. I just got to figure out the right. Yeah, I need money to do it, but like also do it without money. But anyways, so I'll put a little bit. This will be like a hodgepodge of art and interviews and pieces and slices and so we're still doing the show. I just got busy. Everyone's busy. It's harder to get people on the show when they get busier. Let's see. In Oregon, I'm trying to figure out my next step. It's going to be getting cold and shitty here very soon, if not right away, if not right now. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. But what's going away? To all the people that have been on the show, I mean, there's a laundry list. I'm just Cindy Camp Papiano was my first guest. Gene Harding is on there. That was stand-up comedy guy, and there are so many. Rick Rude, very interesting. I'm always learning when I'm doing this, and I think that's part of the fun, and the spontaneity of it. So check out my Brett's with Friends more episodes on YouTube. Subscribe, smash the like buttons. BrettWoods.com is my website, which actually is more of a portfolio than anything, but I do commission work. I have tons of new stuff, tons and tons. I mean, I got so much. Maybe I'll put some pictures of those on here. But what else? I guess I want to try to keep it short and sweet, and maybe we can see each other on the next episode. And I will sign off. To 2022 was a crazy ass year. 2023 is gonna be fun, right? It's gonna be good. Yeah. So happy New Year's, happy holidays. Be well, take care of each other. Kind of animals, like Ricky Gervais would say. Yeah, I guess that's about it. See you guys in the new year. See you in the future.
Brett's with friends, Brett's with friends, Brett's with friends, it's never going to end. Brett's with friends, Brett's with friends, Brett's with friends, let's do it again. Brett, he talks to people about stuff. He's a podcast man.
Everybody's in here at 7 o'clock, and you come walking in at 7:45. When is it going to stop? Come in at 7:45, then you leave here at 3:30 in the afternoon, and then you don't.
1941. You lost it all and then away you run. Why don't you do right like some other men do? Get out of here and get me some money too. You're sitting down wondering what it's all about. You ain't got no money, they will put you out. Why don't you do like some other men? Get out of here and get me some money too.
Christ. Shit. Fucking BB. Wrong fucking pistol anyway. Shit. Come on. Fuck isn't what I needed. I can't do anything with this. Oh, God. Ah, shit. Ah. Oh. Ow. Didn't see it coming.
Fuck you.
Happy New Year, Bob.
Lindsay.
Mommy didn't want me to come over and see you, but I told her you were my friend.
Is that right? Well, come on in, I guess. I don't have anything for you to drink.
That's okay. Yuck. What happened to your face?
I had an accident in the bathroom.
Does it hurt?
You bet it does. Go ahead, sit down.
When I fell off my bike, that really hurt. You need help.
I know, sweetheart.
You should go to the hospital.
I know. I can't.
But why?
You wouldn't understand.
Mm.
You just keep knocking them dead with that beautiful smile of yours. You'll be all right. Why aren't you outside watching the parade?
Mom says I have to stay in the building and watch from the windows.
Go ahead. Watch it from my window. I gotta go into this bandage in the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Ow.
Can I help? Mommy says you're sad because you don't have a job. Don't be sad. On New Year's Day, everyone is supposed to be happy.
Can you keep a secret?
Yes?
I don't want to be here right now.
Huh? Where do you want to be?
No, exactly. Just far away from here. Sometimes, New Year's Day, people don't feel sadder than they did before. Don't want to go on hurting like me. It's not just being out of work. It's not having a family, someone to be around, someone to take care of.
I know how sad you are. It's like when Clifford never came home.
Right. Clifford, the cat. Remember when he didn't come home? You were really sad. Hey, come on. Let's go watch the parade.
They won't take care of you at the hospital, will they?
I can't afford it.
I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, smart girl.
I think you better go now.
Okay, Lindsay.
Is this yours?
Stop. Don't move.
Is that real?
Yes.
You should come to the hall for dinner.
I gotta take care of my eye.
Mommy can take care of your eye.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Lindsay. I'm sorry I had to involve you in all my troubles.
That's okay. I like you.
I like you too.
We're friends.
Yeah, we sure are.
Bye.